What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Well, I have a lot of feelings going on. I had an electric weekend, and everything was good up until about when the fourth quarter start, or when the second half start yesterday. Till about 6:25, everything was looking great. My college team, JMU, took care of business. Went down to Harrisonburg, obviously was on the call. That went well. Didn't get fired on TV, so, take a small victory there. The Bills had won, I was like, man, everything's looking good. Kenny he was lighting it up, throwing the ball. We was getting everything we wanted to see. Matt Kennedy was in his bag first half. I'm like, bruh, am I about to get the trifecta? Am I about to get the clean sweep? Even my fantasy team was winning. It was to the point that I didn't even care about going 1 for 5 on the picks this week because everything else was perfect.
I almost went undefeated.
Bro, I said, if I have to sacrifice my picks this week, but my fantasy team is going to dominate, my Steelers going to win, my Bills going to win, my Duke's going to win, I'm going to be on the call and I'm going to do, bro, I thought everything was perfect. And then the third quarter happened. And then the fourth quarter continued to happen. And now I'm here and I'm just kind of like, So that's how I'm currently feeling right now. But how about yourself, man? Where are you at emotionally? How was Pitt on Saturday? And then obviously Steelers game yesterday. Was your weekend successful-ish? At least your picks hit?
Yeah.
Small victories, right?
Jail.
Oh, yeah, you're not in jail. Yes. Glad to finally have that again. And nobody said you were arrested yesterday, too. Thank you for, you're the more mature crowd this week. Appreciate you. We didn't need another fire drill like that. Mm-mm.
I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Well, going back to Pitt, they did win, but that was a disaster of a game in and of itself. We were destroying them, and Slovis tried to find every way to give the game back to the opponent and let
That
Duke
is not cool
get back
at
in
times.
it. And it literally came down to our secondary was terrible too, but
Yeah.
it came down to Duke having to get a 2-point conversion. They didn't get it. So
Yeah.
that's really what happened. We ended up winning 28-26, but I think we were up double digits at some point in the second half. Game was all over, but yeah, like I said, Slovis was finding every way to get him back in.
Yeah.
I think he had 3 picks. He had like 2 or 3 picks.
Maybe that was the
picks.
common thing because literally the JMU game, it was like, bro, we should have ran them out the building and we let it get absurd in the second quarter where we were looking and we're down 3 scores just to come back and put up 21, 24 unanswered in the second half. Like just nonsense, a lot of self-inflicted stuff. So I could definitely understand what you're talking about.
Yep, weird pain right now.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm really
Yeah.
pissed off about that loss yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I still believe in this team, though?
No, and
Why do I still believe?
Literally, Deke. And for everybody that's out there asking themselves, why should you still believe? I got your answers today. I can assure you.
I still believe.
I am in this weird space where, granted, yesterday was a loss, and we're not big on moral victories. We don't even do that type of stuff. But there's a lot of context, a lot of positivity that took place coaching-wise and player-wise. And we're going to deep dive into all of that offensively and defensively, man. So without further ado, let's start the show like we always do. Let us know where you're tuning in from in the chat. And then after that, man, we'll give those big boy shout-outs. Also, hit that like button while you're at it and subscribe to the channel for the culture. And don't forget that notification bell as well. And I know my man Stan Claire, he was here super early, but he's a little bit under the weather. So he said he might not be able to make the whole show, but he did want to let us know that he was still here in spirit with us. So shout out to Stan Claire. Hope your recovery is going well.
He's a warrior.
Absolutely, man.
Sajan Patel, 918 Tulsa, Oklahoma. Says, go Pokes and sad. Here we go. Q, Allentown.
Hey.
PA. Rod Dulles, 330, Youngstown, Ohio.
You know
Share
where he
line,
at.
baby.
You know where he at. Let's get it.
Zach, 4499. Portland, Maine, 207, baby.
Okay. Respect.
Brian Brosey, 904 Duval. Here we go.
Duval. Let's get it.
Sammy Buckets, 918 Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got a few people Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I
I
know,
know
right?
Nick Y, too. I don't know
Yeah.
if he's in the house today, but
Shout out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, man. Let me hop in here a little bit, man. I got Barilla 92 tuning in from the 817 Arlington, Texas. Then we also have Let's Go Pens 95. Tuning in from the 412, baby. And you know we got the homie Darius Mayo tuning in from the 410, Baltimore, Maryland. Always holding us down. And the homie Hunter Gaming, the 985 Thibodaux, Louisiana. And Hunter Gaming is still very, very much part of the culture with the big boy. Here we go in all caps. We definitely respect that. Can't forget Craig Ellis either. Tuning in from the 717, Lancaster, PA. And Leah Warren. If there's a stream going, Leah's in the building. So shout out to Leah Warren tuning in from the 254 Killeen, Texas. Let's get it. Let's get it.
You want to just jump to the super chat because Damon Brown just dropped 100?
I was about to say, I feel like I just saw a flash that popped up. So you know what? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm done with shout outs.
Shout out to Damon Brown. Holy cow. Damon, I love when you do what you do, the way you do when you do that thing that you like to do. So we appreciate you from the heart.
He says, was I and all the Steelers talk the only ones that saw the Jermaine Pratt interview? They, the Bengals, said the same thing Steeler fans already knew. We're so predictable. I'm thinking Canada has a copy of Omar Khan's sex tape. JK. How does he keep his job? Peace. Shout out to Trina.
All right. So let's dive into this thing right here. I mean, I guess I figured we just go ahead and start breaking it down, right? Go ahead, put the graphic up, because it's recap time. Player.
Let's break it down.
So a couple of things, man. When we're talking about Matt Canada and some of the predictability, think of it in the context of a prize fighter, a boxer. Does a boxer start the first round and he's only throwing knockout punches every single time? Or does he have to repeatedly throw the jab? The same boring, predictable punch, right? And it gets to the point where it lulls you to sleep. Why? Because it's the same boring punch. But then a couple rounds later, what do you get? You get that hook, right? Or you get that overhand, or you get that uppercut, the punch that they didn't see, because what? You've essentially lulled them to just relax a little bit. So with some of these calls that we see, some of the predictability, it is part of that. And I can show you an example. You brought it up last podcast. Man, why do we run this concept where we send Jalen Warren or Najee Harris to the flat, Pat Fryer move to that mid-tier area to the sideline, and then we'll have the deep over route coming from the backside, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens.
Well, we're talking on these PA boots.
And we're like, man, it looks so predictable. And man, the defense just sitting there waiting on it, right? And we had that again yesterday. But what was the change from that? The touchdown pass to George Pickens, where we gave you the exact same look, but now instead of George being on the front side and running that little hookup route, he goes in, up, and then bursts to the corner, wide open. But that doesn't happen if you call that every single time. You have to set it up. So some of these concepts that we see, yes, is boring. Yes, it's frustrating. But you also can see, especially yesterday, multiple occasions in both the first half and the second half where guys were schemed up running wide open. We had one drop. We had a questionable throw in terms of, hey, man, is that on Pickett throwing it in the end zone, or is that on George Pickens adjusting better in the end zone, right?
Claypool.
You know, it's like we can point to multiple.
Oh, that, you know what? I think that was first half. We scored the touchdown with Pickens anyway.
Yeah, but that was the first half one. But in the second half, we dropped the one to George Pickens on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
He caught the one in the third.
Like a minute left.
Yeah, he caught the one in the beginning of the fourth quarter where we ended up having to I think we ended up settling for a field goal on that. But we could see multiple times, first half, second half, where it was schemed up and it worked. But it was based off of, I got to keep showing you the same thing. It's boring. It looks boring. It looks repetitive. It looks like we know it. But it's those type of things that at times we'll go from that and execute that play and it looks beautiful like I highlighted. The other times we'll come off of that, and then when we do try to scheme up the shot, is lack of execution, whether it's poor throw, because Kenny did have a couple where he missed, whether it was questionable drops where you're like, man, I think this guy's capable of coming down with this pass.
2 or 3 yesterday.
You know, I think of that. And then the third part was the protection. There was some times where everything was on par, everything was good, but then you had the offensive line not being able to sustain it. So when we're talking about why the optimism, or even Matt Canada, why he still has his job, because Coach Tomlin looks at the same tape I'm looking at, and I'm looking at dudes be schemed open. I'm looking at plays work because of the repetitiveness of certain things that he's showing. The problem is we're not getting enough consistent execution. And that goes back to the youth that we've been talking about from an offensive standpoint. And I think that yesterday's game, as disheartening as it was also very encouraging because it showed me, man, that Bengals team, they are literally a year and a half ahead of us in the development process. And when we really talk about position for position, especially on that offensive side, you'll see it. Kenny Pickett versus Joe Burrow. Both played well, right?
Around.
No. But think about this, right? Both played well, did they not?
They did.
But what was the difference? Joe could go that next level, right? Kenny kind of teetered off in the end. When we talk about the running back room, we obviously had Najee, and Najee played really well. But in terms of the impact of it, was his impact more than what Samaje Perine was?
I was going to say, it's tough because Mixon was out. No one was expecting Perine to do that.
But either way, from that backfield, they had more productivity there. When we talk wide receivers, George Pickens, heck of a game, right? T. Higgins, who had the better night? And when we're talking about our offense, how about we even go to the offensive line? Jonah Williams and La'el Collins versus Dan Moore and Chuks Okorafor. Both had mismatches, right? But who held up their end a little bit better? Their guys did. It's no surprise, but their guys are a little bit further in their development, a little bit further in their progressions of being NFL players. So when I look at the game and how it played out, it's like, man, we are not that far off. Let's be real about it. And we still did a lot of positivity. But that is the difference between the good teams and the really good teams, or the teams that are vying to be really good. That Bengals team, they brought a lot of players back from that Super Bowl run. But think about how they got to that Super Bowl run. When they got to that postseason, it was execution under pressure. It was details. And when that game happened yesterday in that third quarter, it was no big scheme thing. And granted, there was some little schematic things that we will address. But as a whole, it really came down to those little details. Their veteran players, or their more veteran players, making the plays that our players were not making consistently enough. And that, to me, is just one of those things where we have to understand that, yes, we want our progression, our development to be there right now. We want that instantly. But that's not how it works when you're talking about professional football. It does take some time. Now, it doesn't have to take multiple years, as we saw with Cincinnati. It took them a year and a half. Because even last year, it wasn't like they had it perfectly in the regular season. We've highlighted that. They got it going in December. And then after that, postseason, when they really got it clicking. But it took them time to figure that out. And now I'm looking at our roster, and I'm like, man, we are literally that team a couple years early. Like, this is where we're at right now. I don't, like I said, it's not a great situation because we don't want to hear that. We want to win right now. But in terms of the optimism and why we keep feeling hopeful, that is why, because it is showing repeatedly now. We just have to get it for 4 quarters. And that's the next stage in this thing.
Yeah, I like everything you said there. Also consider Joe Burrow was just on one yesterday. Mm-hmm. He just was. Like, even the times we were in really good coverage, he made a really tight window throw where only the receiver could get it, and they caught it.
And what do we call him, right? Is he a quarterback or is he a franchise quarterback?
He's a top 5 quarterback.
He's a top 5 quarterback.
He's a top 5 quarterback right now. Actually, me and my buddy were talking about, like, dudes, who would you have locked in as a quarterback right now that you knew was a franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years?
Yeah.
And the only ones we could really think about was just like Mahomes. He's a guarantee. I'm just talking about literally guarantees.
Yep.
And then I said Burrow. I said Mahomes, Burrow, and then probably Herbert would be your top 3. So he's one of those guys. And sometimes you just got to chalk it up to great play by him. But what I also liked about what you said, too, is just the general development that we are experiencing because the offense literally scored 30 points yesterday. Now, whatever. The last touchdown was garbage time if you want to consider that. But we still had to get like an onside kick and everything. It was still in the game.
You're still very much in the game. 30 points is 30 points.
Well, yeah, Pickens catches that one, too. Okay. Hell, there's even more time left on the clock.
Okay.
30 points by the offense.
So is that not drastic improvement from September?
Yeah. You could even say from last week.
No. We were about to build it up. I was going to ask you about September. Was that improvement from September?
Yeah.
Was that improvement from October?
Yeah.
Was that improvement from what we saw last week?
Yeah.
You catch my drift? So, yes, it's easy when we are reacting from an emotional standpoint to just simply say, fire Matt Canada, our team stinks, start tanking. But when you actually look at the context of everything and you're looking at the development, you can ignore it if you want to, but there are too many examples of why this can work. When you talk about the misses in the end zone, when you talk about can Kenny make this throw or not, these are still guys that are schemed open. And to the answer of can he make the throw, yes or not, the answer is yes, because we are seeing him do it. The question is the consistency.
Some of the throws on the run, too, incredible. I mean, the dimes, the Pickens, the one Najee dropped early in the game. These are dimes.
Absolutely. The question is the consistency element, and the consistency is the difference between a Kirk Cousins versus a Aaron Rodgers versus a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. The Ryan Tannehills versus...
Josh Allen's one of them, too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But why didn't you correct me?
Man, I wasn't even tripping, bro. But that's the thing. It's like, those type of guys, they're doing that on a more consistent basis. That's why they're top 5. But you can still win without having a top 5 guy as long as he's consistent. And for Kenny, the consistency is where he's having to keep getting better and growing. But this is also for context purposes. 7 games he's played in, but let's be real, 2 of them he only played a half of football in. He came in for the second half of one game and he only played the first half of one game. So once again, when we're talking about his progression, it is fast. We think in our mind, because we haven't won enough games, that this dude has been the reason, and now development wise, man, he's stuck, we can't go on with him. It's like, bro, 7 games with 2 halves of football played in 7 or in one of those. Youth is significant. When you talk leadership, when you're talking about who can you look to make a play, who can you look to grab you by the horns and say, hey, man, we're going to get this going. Offensively, they don't have that guy. We talked about it. Kenny Pickett, rookie. George Pickens, rookie. Deontay Johnson trying to figure it out. Offensive line wise, we said, Chooks, this is first go around trying to be a leader, right? And that's because of the contract. James Daniels, this is first go around trying to be a leader because of the contract. Najee Harris, second-year player. Pat Frymouth, second-year player. It's not a lot of veteran leadership over there. So at times, they are going to all be off. It's going to be times where they're all going to be kind of looking around like, George, are you the leader this time? Najee, are you the leader? Kenny, are you the leader? Maybe it's offensive lineman this time, because they're trying to figure that out. Whereas in contrast, you look at the Bengals on offense, and what do they have? It's proven leadership. Joe Burrow's a proven leader, right? When you talk about Alel Collins been in this league for a minute. You don't think he knows how to lead? When you talk about T. Higgins, granted, he's still younger, but Tyler Boyd, he's been here for a little bit, right? When you talk about Joe Mixon, he's been around for a little bit. Samaje Perine, he's been around for a little bit. They have those type of veterans that they can turn to. And I think at times, especially yesterday in that second half, that was also something that we were missing from an offensive perspective.
Okay, so this even goes back to the initial Canada comment and the quotes by Jermaine Pratt about they were just predictable running the same plays. In the second half, first for me, I don't care if you're running the same plays or same content. If it's working, it's working. I could give 2 craps.
No, we call it small menu, big understanding. If you run the same play 100 times, you're going to know how to block that front. You're going to know how to run that play versus a man front versus zone front versus 4 down, 3 down, 2 down, whatever it is. If it's a blitz, if they're slanting the line, you're going to know it, right? Small menu, elite, big understanding. Also, part of the issue is this, and I'm not even going to take full credit. This is also something that Merrill Hodge had also talked to me about when we were talking earlier today on the Steelers TV. Yes, at times last week, they did block up certain plays really good, but the New Orleans Saints D-line was not doing a lot of movement. It was static in the sense they aligned in what they were doing. So from an offensive line perspective, it's simplified. Hey, Deke, you're blocking this DN. You know why? Because he's there every single time. So now if it's a drive block, you know how to drive block him. If it's a double team, shoot, you know where he's at. We got this. But Cincinnati, they're not always stationary. And we saw that too, right? They're going to have some movement. They're going to do some twists and stuff like that. And we did have some mishaps. That's a difference in the sense of when you're talking about the repetition, when you're talking about the small menu, bigger understanding. Yes, you might have this understood in this front. But when there are different fronts, or when there are different actions off of that, how confident are you? And we know at this level, it's quick. It's a game of inches. So if you hesitate because you weren't anticipating this guy slanting, and now you're trying to figure out, how do I step to this? How does this affect my timing? Well, now you're going to have some issues with that. And that is something that has popped up as well. So even when we're talking about the offensive line and their consistency or the lack thereof, because in the first half, I thought they ran block really well, and I thought even their pass blocking was good at times. But then the second half, you're just like, bro, how does it disappear? Why is it so drastic? Some of that is a part of it. But I also feel like at this level, man, matchups do matter. And they did a good job of winning their matchups. Winning their one-on-ones were, for us, we just didn't do it consistently enough, man.
Well, that was one of the things I was thinking when it came down to the second half and the offense stalling a couple times. I know a lot of people want to probably blame Pickett. A lot of people want to blame Canada.
Yeah.
But Yeah, sure. Could have Pickett maybe made a better throw or two in that second half in some of those moments? Could Canada have maybe called a better player too? Sure. But I also saw penalties by the offensive line. I also saw a play or two where actually it was kind of schemed up pretty good on a receiver screen to Deontay Johnson. I think there was another screen to Pat Freiermuth. I'm just like, bro, we got all the blockers there. It's just like
they ain't make the block though.
No, they're whiffing on guys. They're just not even finding the Bengal guy that they have to block.
No
they're looking the other way. Exactly.
Schemed up right though. Called at the good time.
Yeah, so, and then it comes down to a third down and something, and sometimes you miss a throw and incompletion happens.
Literally.
I just don't think it was like that drastic of a drop-off that everyone's thinking.
It's not. Context matters, and we know it's a lot easier when you're emotional to just blanket it and say, hey, it was coordinator or it was quarterback or it was O-line, but it was never that. It was context. And even going to that third quarter, man, you talk about some of the third downs. So check this out. First one, I would say just Kenny missed the throw. I think that was the one to George Pickens, right? The first one he just missed in that third quarter, the first third down. The second,
I don't even think he was open, didn't he? Like,
but either way, I'm just like, either way, we could say, it was a miss. We could just leave it at that, and that's kind of how I left. Because I was like, I'm gonna grade it hard, so I would just say, okay, a miss, cool. The second one, nah, that's a damn more pressure given up. Trey Hendrickson is beating the heck out of him. He had no time. The third one was 3rd and 13, and that's where they threw it. Obviously, to Zach Gentry. I wasn't happy about that because that was off of the interception from TJ. We had the short field and we could not get anything going. In fact, we shot ourselves in the foot on that, right? I think
that's why people are most emotional about it, is because I'm not happy with the defense at all, but at least the defense did in the second half give the offense a couple opportunities in weighty moments to try to take the lead again.
And then from there, the final third down of that third quarter, the Kenny missed to Deontay Johnson. That was another one. So to me, I'm like, yes, some of the throws we can critique. And like you said, that first one, depend on how we want to view it, right?
I almost viewed it as just like a throwaway. Right. I'll throw it up if Pickens makes some spectacular catch, then so be it.
But as a whole, when I look at that second one, like I said, that's a damn more thing. That's a matchup thing, though. And then obviously the 3rd and 13, that's a longer drive. And we just didn't like the fact that I think it was on first. I think it was first down. They had a negative play and then the penalty on the second, and then they tried to get it back. But as a whole, you can see where they were still in third and favorable in some of these situations. So it wasn't like they were god awful on first downs. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where you just want to see it happen. How can we get it to happen faster? And that's part of the criticism that I would, and this is why I shift my criticism to Matt Canada, is the adjustments part. Some of the stuff that the Bengals started to do differently in that second half was with the pressure and stuff like that, right? In terms of just trying to isolate Chooks. And one of the things that we really didn't respond well to, and I don't know if this was because Jaylen Warren was hurt, but we never
feel like that sucked.
We never went
to killed us in the second half.
Yeah, we never went to a little bit faster passing attack. Not necessarily hurry up offense, but think how the Bengals, what they started to do to offset our pass rush. They started to do certain things alignment-wise in the C-gap area to mess with TJ, to mess with Alex Highsmith, and then they also started to release the back fast, right? Or align it empty. So that way, if you want to walk that linebacker to that A-gap, there's no way he can cover this to the flat. And they made you pick and choose. You're either going to line in the A-gap and get this one-on-one, but now this back is going to be in a foot race, or you can back off of this thing and I'm going to chip your rusher, but now you're going to be better in coverage. And that was the game that they played with us defensively, along with knowing that we don't travel our corners. So they said, okay, we're going to line up. We're going to hunt the slot.
We might need to switch that mindset. It's ridiculous.
Well, we can talk about it, but just know every defense has a pro and a con.
Sure, like you could help. You could help the guy that's on T. Higgins.
You can help him, and then you can hurt somebody else in a major way. That's the only thing. It's just a gift and a curse.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You want to get your best corner on their best receiver.
Yeah.
It's just simple, and it's just tough just seeing it happen over and over again throughout the game. Yeah. Or he's literally targeting T. Higgins. Just whoever he's on, I'm throwing it to him.
And it was a good adjustment by them, but that also goes to the familiarity within the division. Everybody has different things, right? So think about what is our knock. We don't travel corners, but we bring pressure. When you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, they travel corners, right? But they get picked off at times. If they got a bad one-on-one matchup, they don't have a zone that they can go back to. When you talk Seattle Seahawks, what's their weakness? They always run cover 3. So crossing routes, 4 verts are always going to be a threat for them. Everybody has a defense that has a weakness. It's just for us, when we're feeling it like that, that's when we get pissed off. Now, a couple of things of how we can offset it, and this is that's what we're going to talk about. If you're ready to talk about, we can wait. I think it might come up in the chat anyways.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything I wanted to say again with the offense, Canada or Pickett. I just thought Pickett played pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Outside of the little bit of the lull in the second half.
Yeah.
If you would have told me he would have put together this game, 265, a touchdown, and going back to what you said too, this is his 6th game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's enough.
That's
enough right now, at least.
Enough
right now.
This is 6 games into
That's
a
why I'm
rookie.
pissed about the defense, man.
Like,
if
Deke, 6
you would have
games
told
for
me
a
the
rookie,
offense would have had 23 points, we ended up getting the 30 with the garbage time touchdown. But that was enough for this game in particular. I thought the defense was going to play way better than that.
Yeah.
With the Jamar Chase-less Bengals team, and they ended up losing Joe Mixon.
You lose Joe Mixon,
wasn't it the first quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just really disappointing to me. But I do think it's the tough give and take because we're just not firing on all cylinders. We're not playing complimentary football right now because the defense, as bad as they were, in my opinion, they gave the offense opportunities where we're only down 1 score.
Also, you had
a short field a couple times in that second half.
And you had a Steven Sims kickoff return as well.
Yeah.
They got you set up.
Well, yeah, why do you have to muff that one, too?
Bro, I don't, Literally, I thought I was cursed because the JMU football game.
Because I like the electricity he brings.
Yeah.
Like, we can't deny that. He is an extra element.
The reason
to him.
why I thought I was cursed, when I said the JMU game, they was trying to give it away. They literally did that 3 times, bro. And one of them ended up, they got the ball on the goal line. Yeah. 3 times back to back. Bro, can't make this up. 3 times back to back. 2 kickoffs, 1 punt return, bro. I've never seen nothing like it. So when I saw Steven Sims do it, I was like, bro, what is happening? Yeah.
I think I'm just a little pissed because, there's people just coming out for Pickett right now about the second half. I just think there were so many more other factors at play.
Well, this is my
thing. With the Freiermuth holding, the ineligible man downfield, false starts.
Honestly, this is the thing. I think expectations do matter. And for the people, Deke, that are going to come out here and they want to crucify Kenny Pickett, man, your energy isn't for them because they already got their mind set up. You're not going to change their mind. That's like when a person comes up here and they're just like, Canada was god-awful yesterday. And I'm like, nah, context matters. We can point to tangible things that refute that. Like, it's simple. So when we're talking about Kenny Pickett, it's like, nah, I thought personally that was his best game that I've seen him play professionally. Could he have been more accurate?
Yeah,
sure. But in terms of what have we been challenging him with on this show? We said turnovers number 1. This is 2 weeks in a row, no turnovers, right? We talked about him throwing passing touchdowns. Not only did he throw passing touchdowns, he had potentially 1 drop and another one that you're looking at the receiver saying, I think you're good enough to adjust your body while you're running here to make this play. We also said what? Hey, I don't want you just throwing to guys that you can blatantly see that are open. How about you challenge and throw NFL caliber open throws, right? Now, he wasn't the most accurate in those situations, but he was attempting them. And that is telling me that he is seeing it and is slowing down for him. A lot of reasons why younger quarterbacks don't want to put that ball in them tight windows that we call NFL open is because they are not seeing it. They don't trust it. They don't believe it. But when you start seeing a guy actually attempting it and putting it there, that's letting you know it's starting to slow down. He is starting to get a better understanding, a better feel for this thing. And that's what it's all about. You got to be comfortable when you're out there, but you can't expedite that process. It's a reps thing. It's a in-stadium, in-game thing. And regardless of what he did in college or what we want to praise and crown him for, is not going to matter in this situation right here. He just has to go through these growing pains. And it's not always going to be linear. It's going to be some weeks where it looks like the first half. It's going to be some weeks where he struggles a little bit and it looks more like the second half. But the thing that we can definitely hang our hat on is the improvement. Because if you're going to tell me he's not improving, I'm going to point to the fact that he didn't have interceptions. That's the first thing that we can point to being a tangible improvement. The next thing I'm going to point to is the fact that he passed for how many yards yesterday, Deke?
265.
And what was his completion percentage in terms of attempts versus throws?
59%.
So either way,
with a couple drops.
Exactly.
So yeah, it could have been low 60s.
So for me, when I'm looking at those, I'm saying, okay, once again, those are improvements. We just talked about stretching the field also, right? And we know Matt Canada. We can get on Matt Canada and some of the things that he did positively, right? Because we did have guys schemed up running around the middle of the field. I know we always like to talk about Matt Canada not having guys in the middle of the field or not having guys schemed up open. So we definitely had that. We even had anticipating calls. The screen calls by Matt Canada, that's anticipating. You're knowing that I'm either getting pressure or I'm getting man-to-man. So we're seeing even growth from him. But it's up to us if we want to acknowledge it or not. But I do feel like a bigger issue as it pertains to Kenny is just the expectations. We are accustomed to a Hall of Fame quarterback. This dude, in terms of Ben, we talk about. There are not a ton of new Hall of Fame franchise caliber quarterbacks coming into this league each and every year. It's about the same handful of 5 to 6 guys, right? You either have them or you don't. We've had one for 18 years. We wanted to put that on Kenny year 1. It's not realistic. Can he develop? Sure. Is he going to ever be Ben Roethlisberger? I personally don't know. But could he still be a really good quarterback in this league to help you win? Absolutely, and he's showing that. But if your expectation is Ben Roethlisberger and you're looking at Kirk Cousins, you're never going to acknowledge what Kirk Cousins is doing, right? But if your expectation is Kirk Cousins and you're getting Kirk Cousins, you're like, you know what? Give me a Dalvin Cook, give me a Justin Jefferson and a great defense, man. We can make this thing work. And when I look at this Steelers team right now, I say, man, shoot.
Yeah, we could at least be doing that right now.
We could at least be doing that.
Yeah, whether or not you think Pickett could grow into a top 5 quarterback.
Exactly.
I think we could be winning right now.
Exactly.
Here's context for Pickett's game, just stat-wise. The QBR, it's the one from 0 to 100.
Yep.
62.1, that was Pickett's QB rating. That was good for 12th in the league in Week 11. That was 1 point behind Josh Allen. He was 9th in the league in passing yards. So you can't tell me that Pickett can't play quarterback.
Exactly.
Like he just literally proved it right now, and this is his 6th or 7th game as a rookie. That was good enough to win that game yesterday.
No question.
It wasn't perfect, but it was.
Defensively, they got to do better. I mean, that's at the end of the day, they got to do better. Should we transition to that defense side right now? I didn't know if there maybe was some.
That was so we literally just went off a tangent from one super chat, so we can maybe get into the super.
All right, let's get some super.
Someone's got to bring up the defense.
Because I was like, I'm ready to dive into that too, man. It's always a good weekend, man, when we got positive things to talk about. I like because it's certain things. It's like, man, you could win a game, but it's a ton of negative out there, and it's not as always fun. But right now, man, we do got some positives, man. We also got some coaching points, man. Some stuff that we got to improve upon.
Keith Smith joining the upper room.
Oh, shout out to Keith Smith, and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
James Panzarello. Going consecutive 3 and outs like that in the second half made our defense tired. 3 legitimate points in the second half. What y'all think was the problem?
Yeah, offensively, part of it was the adjustments. I don't think that we did enough to protect our tackles. And I also don't think we did enough of the execution part from the quarterback and the receivers consistently enough in the second half. When you look at the pressure that they were getting, some of that is just, I don't want to say like arrogance, but it's just like, why won't you help your tackles out? It got to a point where we all knew that Dan Moore could not block Trey Hendrickson, right? We kind of got that feeling about midway through the third. It was like, yo, this dude he's picking it up. Then the fourth quarter, and it's like, all right, dude, he's really picking it up. We never made the adjustment of aligning a tight end in that area, having a running back chip him, sliding it, or anything. Whereas in contrast, you talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's exactly what they did. They would have Samaje Perine run directly off of Jonah Williams' shoulder, so that way Alex Highsmith either had to get super wide or had to come down the middle. They would align Hayden Hurst in the C-gap area, and at times he would put 2 hands on T.J. Watt and delay his release just to keep T.J. from having a free rush. Or he would line up with about 1.5 yards from the tackle from Lyle Collins just to make T.J. have to decide, do I want to be super tight or super wide? Little adjustments like
it's
that.
It's interesting you say all that because it didn't really feel like TJ had that good of a game.
Yeah, but those are the little adjustments that kept the impact out. And even with him not having that much of an impact, he still had a pick that put us in possession.
What, half a sack? Did they give that fully to Highsmith?
He had half a sack,
TJ? I don't know.
Half a sack and the interception in the third that still set us up on a short field. And that's even with him having a quote-unquote quiet game. Think about that. Five tackles, a half a sack, and a pick, and we're like, TJ, he wasn't even doing nothing today. That's productivity, man. That's crazy. But that's the standard that he has set, and we are grateful for that. But even with that, part of that, like I said, was on the Bengals. And I also think that their offensive line played a lot better. I was really surprised. I thought the Bengals won the line of scrimmage in the second half. The Bengals' offensive line and D-line, I thought they were just better in the second half than our offense line and defense line. It's crazy to say that, especially knowing, the Bengals and how we view their line. But I definitely thought in the second half, they won the line of scrimmage more consistently, man. They were able to get movement, and that's where they were able to run the ball at times. And then for them when we were on offense, like we said, we weren't protecting enough. You start seeing those guys just really starting to create havoc. So it's definitely part of those things.
Hey, James another thing about Pickett, though, I think we forgot to mention when we were talking about improvement, stepping up in the pocket.
Yep. Instead of always trying to escape out the back door.
Right. Stepping up in the pocket. Yep. But then also when he was scrambling and getting outside of the pocket, he was looking downfield and made some really impressive throws.
Absolutely. Like I said, man, the one where the George Pickens one in the end zone, the first one where it was like, hey, man, was this a bad throw or was this, George?
I thought it was a clay.
Being a little in the stadium. everybody in our section was like, bro, why did he trip over him? Why he trip over him?
That's what I thought, too.
Like,
did you say the whole game?
I stayed to third quarter, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was the third, yep. Then after that, came back.
Yeah, that's what I thought from being in the stadium. I was like,
everybody was like, yo, he
why
tripped
the hell
over
did he
himself.
trip?
Yeah.
We got the holding call anyway.
Right. So it was, for not. But, yeah, I was with you. Like, in the stadium, everybody was like, bro, how did he just trip over himself? Yeah. And, like I said, going back and watching it on tape, you can question, okay, can he have put the throw more inside? But also, could George have kept running too? It looked almost like, I don't know if he lost the ball or what, but it just... it looked weird. It looked super awkward. Not a George Pickens type of move.
Yeah, not graceful.
Yeah, and then to turn around and in the fourth, you drop the easy one, the layup. I'm like, hold on, man. What's this, man? What is this?
I guess this one's arguable, too, because I thought that one to Pat, I forget when it was, first half.
Thought that
drop.
Like,
he was saying, my buddy was saying, like, hey, he needed to direct him a little bit better. I mean, dude, that's like straight in his hands.
Listen.
I don't want this to be a trend.
Fry move, man.
And Pickens dropping it. I'm not used to this.
If it's Zach Gentry, we can say yes. Put that ball directly on him. If it's Pat Fry move, we expect him to catch that because the elite tight ends catch that. All I'm saying is the elite tight ends catch that, and we think that he is capable of that the same way we think that George Pickens is capable of that. So it's not that we're trying to be harder on them. It's just that why are we going to lower our standards when we know what these players are capable of? That's the biggest reason why we talk Steelers football and we expect them to win, because of the standard that they have set. So, yeah, the same way we don't let the team off the hook, man, we can't let some of these players off the hook either, man, because we know what they're capable of.
Where can we send Najee Harris for some receiver training? Do we send him to Le'Veon Bell? Because Le'Veon Bell catches that one from the Saints game. He also catches the one from this game.
He for a fact catches the one yesterday.
Do we send him to Bell, or do we need to send him to a receiver like Randy Moss?
Anybody that needs to know, can he catch that pass in terms of elbow? You cut on that Jacksonville Jaguars playoff game, and the catch he has over Telvin Smith in that end zone, bro, filthy. Elbow, filthy. So, yes, he for a fact, maybe he needs to call my dog up, man.
With his body size, these are catches. I mean, they're hitting his hands. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, elbow coming out with that.
Who else could we sign? Like, is there an Alabama receiver? Some type of connection? Former stud? Julio, maybe. Can we link Najee with Julio?
Go to Philly. Devontae Smith.
No, I'm trying to think of someone that's older that may be a little bit more privy to helping the young guys out. Because Devon, like the guys now, the same age as Najee, they're focused on their own craft. We need someone, maybe even retired. That's why I'm bringing up like Randy Moss.
Oh, you gonna go with Trent Richardson? What?
No. Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, you liking that?
No, we don't want that energy.
All right. What about Mark Ingram? There we go.
No, we need someone to tell him to catch the ball.
Trying to think of another Bama running back there.
To high point those passes. That's what we need. No, not running. We don't need running back training. We need receiver training.
Hold on, no. Kamar. Alvin Kamar. Go Alvin.
He went to Tennessee.
But he started at Bama, though.
Did he?
I thought he said he started at Bama and then transferred.
He might have.
Yeah.
Damn. Either way, Najee Harris needs to start catching those.
Just get him somebody they can catch out the backfield, man.
It would just make him that much better, that much bigger of a threat. All right, Ryan McPherson. What's good, Moats and Deke? I'm a bit down after this loss and feel very bad for KP8. What was the mood in the stadium? Keep the faith in KP8. The mood in the stadium? I'm really disappointed. It was probably 70% full.
I would agree. It was definitely a little lighter.
Bunch of fakes didn't show up.
It was a little lighter.
That was the mood.
Yeah,
I mean, and then
it was a little lighter. First half,
everyone's down about the loss when you're leaving, obviously.
First half, though, was dope. First half, I felt like it was more so the defense. You felt like the defense kind of let you down a little bit. That screen pass to Samaje Perine where he went like 20. I'm like, bro,
that just looked like a lack of effort.
Yep.
It was a nice play by them, but I don't know if he should have reached the end zone there.
It was a good call, good play, but we got guys they got to do better. And then the other one was the Robert Spillane missed tackle.
Yeah, you don't expect that from
and it was
him
like,
even. Like,
no, because I'm like,
he's
that's
our third best linebacker, but at least make the tackle.
Well, though. That's his game. You're gonna catch it on Spillane, but he's gonna tackle you. And right there, we're just like, bro, what is this? So I felt like it was more so disheartened by the defense than anything in that first half. Obviously, you can attest to more of the second half in that, but yeah, it definitely was light compared to what we're accustomed to seeing in the stands. So,
yeah, it was terrible. Ryan McPherson, I sense a potential sabotage 8, sadly. I've been with y'all on keeping Canada for the season, but after yesterday, we should politely move on from him ASAP. Screens to Gentry. Yes, I didn't like that one. Yeah, there's always like 2 or 3 play calls. I'm like, what are you doing? Why the flea flicker? Why the screen to Gentry right in front of you?
But think about it in this context. Why the flea flicker? It was set up right after the big pass to George Pickens. So most of the time, defensively, when you give up a big play in the air, you know what you're thinking next play is? A run. You're thinking they're going to come back and try to hit you with something because you're going past coverage. So you try to go flea flicker. It's a gimmick. And, hey, what do we know about gimmick plays? You hate them when they don't work, but if it would have worked, we would have been over here crowning them. That's the reality of it. We all do it. We're all guilty of it. That's the truth. If that flea flicker works and it's a touchdown pass for 40 yards, we over here like, bro, that's aggressive. That's crazy. Matt Canada cooking up. But because it doesn't work, we're pissed about it, right? It is what it is. But in terms of the screen to Gentry or the little flea flicker like shuffle pass, some of that stuff, man, like I said, you're just rolling through. You're going through the call decks of, hey, I got to call this. I got to get this look up here because that's going to set up something else. If I can just show this. So even though it's not productive, it's the look because every play is not designed to be a home run play. We hate the jet sweep, but that's still one of our most productive run plays. Even yesterday when Steven Sims got tackled, that was probably, one time out of the last 5 times we run
got a first down.
Absolutely. So it's like we hate the jet sweep. We always complain about the jet sweep, but it's still a very consistent, productive play. So
and we're doing it a little less.
Mm-hmm. But it's all about how we feel about it at times, and that's why we get this sense of, man, I'm tired of seeing the same thing. I'm tired of feeling like this. But we can still point to the productivity that's associated with it. Yes, we can highlight a negative play here or there, sure. And if we do that and we're only focused on the negative, then yeah, we're going to continue to feel like that. But when you're talking about the building process and how do you get to championship level, it doesn't start overnight. This is a part of that process. It's a part of learning, hey, if you're Mad Canada, not just, okay, I'm getting these looks out there, but how can I do it with better intent? How can I do it with a little bit better efficiency? That's some of the things I look at Matt Canada and I critique. Don't think I'm up here apologizing for him when I say, yeah, these are some of the jabs, these are some of the things that you have to throw out there. Yeah, that is a part of it, but you also have to have a little bit better feel for some of these things or try to change up the look sometimes, the window dressing element. You can't keep lining up and running the same play out the same formations, out the same personnel groupings. But that goes to the understanding of this playbook for this team. We don't know that. So yeah, we might feel like, man, why do we only run these plays out of this formation? Well, because if we go with this personnel group and does this slot receiver know how to run that? Or is he going to be good enough to make this block? Man, you talk about some of the nice runs by Najee yesterday. You know what we were seeing? We were seeing George Pickens block like a son of a gun. We were seeing Pat Fry move blocking as well, right? But we were also getting it schemed up where they were going to be in better body position and better leverage positionings before the play even happened. That's Matt Canada scheming it. But we also have some times where it's like, man, why you got the receiver trying to be the point of attack block? If it's not a George Pickens, right? That's some of the stuff that he has to get better at. But we're still seeing it, but that's still a part of him being young. Second year in the NFL doing this thing. He's not this proven dude either. So when we look at this offense and we keep asking ourselves, why is it so up and down, or we feel like we're getting better, but we have halves like that second half was, it's a reason. When you talk about all of the youth associated with this offense, coaching down to the players, there isn't a lot of we can hang our hat on this. We know this concept is always going to work because we don't have a coordinator that's that proven just yet. And obviously we can critique why he was hired and that's a whole nother dynamic. But that is a part of the context for why we look the way that it looks and why at times it's good and why at times it's stagnant, you know? But hopefully this process will pay dividends in the future. Hopefully it's quicker than latter.
Just went out, baby.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Martinez, Sabotage 7. We need Big Ben to right the ship. Big Ben should be playing now and grooming Pickett. According to 7, 8 is missing every open receiver. Okay. So with this comment, I mean, obviously I agree with his initial thing about Sabotage 7.
Mm-hmm.
If we had Big Ben, I think it's a different story this year.
Right.
I don't like the concept of having Big Ben and having like an understudy or anything like that.
Okay.
I've never liked that. You know that.
I know.
I was like, I don't want to draft.
Because you're pushing him out.
If you got Big Ben, you're sticking with Big Ben. Don't worry about quarterback until he retires. Because if you have Big Ben, you got a chance.
Yeah.
So why not fill up the rest of the roster? Whether you get him a new receiver, get him a lineman, add some on defense, whatever. But then his last one about, according to Seven, 8 missing every open receiver. I can't attest to that because I haven't heard Seven say that. I do remember him talking about, and we even talked about it on the podcast. I think it was the first play in the Saints game where Deontay was open on the vertical. Yeah. That's when he threw it to Pickens on the crosser.
But I would also say this. It's always easier to point out those type of things after the fact. When you're watching it on tape.
It's getting really annoying, dude. I hate the sports culture that we've built right now. The micro-analyzation of literally every play, every throw. It's so annoying. Like, get a life. Literally get a life.
But the reason that was created was because of the Kenny crowd. Remember that.
I'm just talking about in general. Like, the sports talk.
But specifically in Pittsburgh, that wasn't our case when it was 7. We weren't on this super hyper every single throw we're going to critique. That started when Mr. Trubisky was the starter and people were trying to formulate an argument and a narrative to make it why Kenny Pickett needed to be the starter. That's what we did in Steelers culture specifically. And that's what we would come up here and talk about, the narrative. And now they've just continued that same energy, which I'm a little surprised by.
Well, listen, I didn't like it with Mitch, though.
No, I do know that. It
was annoying. It got so annoying.
But we can acknowledge, and that's when we were like, man, you got Kenny Nation, and we would joke about it. And it was like, yo, they're going to do whatever they can to make it look like, yo, he's in the way. It needs to be this guy. I didn't think that they would continue doing it with Kenny. I thought that it would be Kenny, and now they kind of forget about it. But they're keeping that same energy,
dude,
and that's.
See, I think I
can understand why you get annoyed, man.
I think that's what happened with you, though. I think you got deceived by the people that were trying to disguise as Kenny Nation, but they were actually fakes. It's actually not a Kenny Mitch. It's a real versus fake.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a real versus fake thing.
Fair enough.
That's really what's going on. I told you, because then they disguise and
because
now they're about to jump off Pickett. These guys want Bryce Young. They're overanalyzing Pickett's throws. They're all negative about it. It's just annoying, dude. It's really annoying.
Yeah, because the thing is this, man. It's like, I can, as a former player, there are plays, man, that I could circle from any player that you want to say is great or perfect, even TJ in games, right? And we can say, hey, this is not a good play right here. This is a play that you could be better. Or this is a play where you should have done this. But when you're in the comforts of the film room, it's a lot easier to say that. When you're looking at it after the fact and you already know how this guy's going to react, you already know how the play is going to play out, it's a lot easier to say and do those things. But let's be real. There's a reason why it's not as easy as we like to throw it out there. It's a reason why. Because you don't always have the answers. You don't always have an all 22 where you know exactly where this safety is, exactly where this corner is, and exactly how this pass rush is going to be. In 7, he would have tested that, and that's why even the same stuff that he's saying Kenny could have done, should have done, even last year, he wasn't doing it to that extent because it's just different. Even when I talk about, the linebacker play, it's like, yeah, man, it's easy to break it down and see it here. But shoot, even I wasn't out there just perfect because you don't always have those answers predetermined. You don't know how it's going to be predetermined, how they're going to react, how are you going to feel, how are you going to execute. So with Kenny, this is a part of it. With this team, that's a part of it. So yeah, I get the criticism and stuff like that, but we also have to understand that it's a lot easier when we're sitting here talking about those plays and freezing framing it and putting it on social media with a little tweet out there. It's cool. It's cool for the clicks and the likes, but when you're talking about actually getting out there and executing, analysts included, myself included, it is not that simple. And any player that has been out there will attest to that. So I get your frustration with it, but yeah, for the people that are doing that, man, they're creating their own narrative or they're just being haters. And if that's the case, man, they can keep that energy over there.
Let's go, UW. Steelers are 0-3 in the last 3 games. They've scored 30-plus points. Steelers 37-30 loss versus the Bengals. That was this Sunday. The 41-37 loss to the Chargers. And the Browns wild card, 48-37 in 2020.
So it sounds like progress, though, from this year's offense because we had not scored 30 in a game until we just did. So I like that optimism right there, for sure.
It is. That was the best game for the
Absolutely. Yeah.
We didn't reach over 20. Was it 23 against the Bengals in week 1? Do we 23?
Yeah, but we had the touchdown on the defensive
20?
touchdown, though, remember?
Right.
Because Mika.
Yeah, this was literally the most points we've put up as an offense. And how many was it in the first half? 20.
Yeah.
And the one, it was sick. It was cool to see. Me and my buddy were talking because Burrow had his chance with like a minute left for them to try to get points. We get the pick. And it was cool. Like, okay, now we can go on the offense. And we actually did it. With 30 seconds, we had the 3 timeouts. Pickett's leading the drive. We get it down there with 9 seconds left. And we actually have a shot to try to get a touchdown. Yeah. That didn't happen. But still, to even get those 3 points.
Your boy was hitting. Your boy, Matt Wright, was hitting.
Don't doubt him.
Respect. He was hitting.
Don't doubt him, dude. It was cool to see. It felt like yesterday, as much as there are still some of the growing pains, there was a change a little bit. We see it with the Pickett stats, obviously. I mean, the 265, the 1 touchdown, and just some of the stuff he was doing, you could see with your eyes. We're talking about him climbing up in the pocket, escaping the pocket, some of the crazy throws he was making, but also just the shift of like, okay, we could actually go in the offensive here. Yeah. Like, you felt it in the game. Like, all right, I think we got something.
Very different.
I was actually going to make a halftime. I was going to go crazy on my halftime report saying, Pickett's the guy, shut up. Like, all this other stuff. I actually said, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to jinx what we got going right now.
Maybe you jinxed it by jinxing it.
Maybe.
You overthought it, man. You should have just went with it.
Maybe. AJ Martinez. I don't want to blame Canada for this one. The cheetah not smoking a Canada pack. Deke is free, just like me. Woo. I just got out of school, not jail.
Oh, whew. Well, that's good to hear that you just got out of school and not jail. Salute you. Yeah, man. We ain't on the Canada pack all the way today, man. Now it's still pre-road now. We ain't tripping, but we ain't lighting it up today. Okay.
Fish momentum. Hey guys, don't give up hope. Here we go.
No, facts. You already know what time it is, man.
Fish Momentum Ambition live at Craft House, November 25th.
I was about to say, don't you hit me with this half-hearted comment. Where's the ambition at? There it is.
Next we have Jacob Alessio. So what's next for us? What should we expect for real?
So to me, man, I look at it like this. You got to keep building. You have to keep diving in the way that they did yesterday because it's going to give you more context. You're learning more about this roster because, like I talked about with that same Bengals team, right? When Joe Burrow first came in there, or even the year before Joe Burrow got there, they were still playing some of the games. In fact, remember, they beat us, right? And we were like...
That was without Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and we were like, yo, how the heck did this happen, right? But they were still evaluating. They were trying to figure out who were going to be the guys that were going to be there when they actually got good. Because tanking for the sake of tanking just means you're going to be Jacksonville. It's going to mean you're going to be Cleveland. You're going to be the Jets. You're going to have a lot of first-round talented players, but a piss-poor team.
Culture, too.
If that's what you want, you carry that over there. But the thing that I look at is this, man. You compete, you try to win as much as you can because you're learning the culture. You're learning how to win. And on top of that, as a coaching staff, you're looking and you're saying, well, who are the guys that are going to be dogs and who are the guys that are going to pack it up because it's not convenient, because we're not winning, because it's not as easy and the fans aren't as, glamored or enamored with us. You want to see that because you think when you get to the postseason, it's a lot of blowouts. Nah. In fact, it's a lot of adversity. In the postseason, it's a lot of one score. Can we get out of this thing? We got to be thick as thieves because ain't nobody going to be around here to support us. We know how crazy it's going to get when you got to go in a real hostile environment. I'm speaking from experience. And that is a part of it. But we didn't just get there overnight. Nah, you think about 2012, you think about 2013. Then you think about 2014 and 2015. Then 16 to 17. It is a process, but you have to learn how to win. You have to learn how to execute under pressure and then repeat process. You got to learn how, hey, man, even this is a bad matchup and I know it's T. Higgins in the slot. How do I defend this? Where's my hope at? How many times we've had DBs from the Steelers come up on this show and they'll say, hey, man, you can't get beat to your leverage and you got to be competitive away from your leverage. Yesterday, we didn't get that always. Sometimes we had guys opening up the gate, getting beat right at the line of scrimmage. The other part was, hey, man, some of them guys just made plays at the catch point where you see guys in position, but, hey, that's just a better player than this player. If it was George Pickens, we're like, yo, great play. Because it's T. Higgins, we're like, Arthur Millette, you suck. Make it make sense, right? But either way, that is a part of it. So when we talk about what's next in this team, man, you lock in. They keep grinding because that's going to put us in position next year as well. When you're talking about, hey, man, let's go on a run. Can we be good? Can we win the division? Can we do these things? You don't just start that overnight. It is a process. And unfortunately for us, we're going through it this year. And it's uncharacteristic because, hey, we are spoiled. We haven't had a losing season since when, right? And it's so funny that we're to the point that we get annoyed by even hearing no losing season, but we holler about wanting to win a Super Bowl. You can't get to a Super Bowl if you don't have the first prerequisite, which is what? a winning season. So even with that, it's just like at times our mind is so skewed and flawed that the one thing that we should enjoy or hang our hat on at times, we look at as a negative. But that's what the culture is right now for us. So you take it as it is, you know?
Maybe people should have appreciated 7 a little bit more. But no, in terms of this season, I'm with you, man. It's only win-win to keep on trying to win. Because all these games, if you just look at them individually, are very, very, very winnable. Very much so. The Bengals,
not a winnable game.
That was even a winnable game. And Bengals are a good team, but they're probably the toughest team that was left on our schedule in the second half. So we could win all these games. It's just tough because winning in the NFL is tough, let alone winning 7 in a row. But
you got to execute.
You got to start with one at a time. It's literally it. Because then if it doesn't happen perfectly, which that's possible, you're building something. It's everything that you said. You're seeing who's the dogs on the roster and who isn't. What can you build upon for next season? What type of experience could Pickett get? What type of connection can he start building with the receivers? And we're seeing that grow week in and week out. Freiermuth and Pickett. Like, it's becoming a staple right now that these dudes are going to be around 70, 80 yards.
But now just think about this. If you skip that because, oh, man, we're 3-7, and I want to have this attitude of what's the draft? Let's just worry about draft position in top 5. You're never going to get that development. And now next year you'll be having a top 5 pick, and you'll be saying, man, why isn't George Pickens and Kenny Pickett having a better rapport? Why isn't Pat Freiermuth taking the next step? Why isn't Najee Harris this elite running back? Well, because you cut the productivity down, because you cut down the development process, because you want to tank for a top 5 draft pick. And
am I wrong? It's not even possible to do in the NFL.
But on top of that,
it's not even possible.
But Deke, on top of that,
like you literally have to sit Kenny Pickett and these receivers. You'd have to sit the whole team.
On top of that, Deke, how many times have we talked about, even when you are drafting a player in the first round, is there a guarantee that this guy's going to come in and be perfect day 1 starter? No, there is not. Whether we're talking top 5 or in the back of the first round, there was zero guarantee. The same way we highlight our first round busts, you don't think the Cleveland Browns can highlight their top 10 first round busts? Like, you catch my drift? So when we talk about the concept of putting all your eggs in the basket of a
hell, we have our own first round bust.
It's just like, bro, what are we thinking? Like, that's the logic that I still struggle to understand. Why jeopardize a whole season for another 50-50 player? Or, because the first round pick, he's 60-40, 70-30. How many first round picks do we talk about being a bust? We said the league average for the whole league, first round draft picks, undrafted guys included, 2.5 years. So that's letting you know the amount of busts that happened in the first round. But yet this concept of, hey man, if we just get a top 5 pick, all our prayers are answered. It's like, well, if that's the case, why hasn't Jacksonville won a Super Bowl? Why hasn't Cleveland won a Super Bowl? Why hasn't the New York Jets won a Super Bowl? You know how many times they picked in the top 5, top 10? The New York Giants. Why haven't they went back to a Super Bowl? Like, that's the thing. So it's like we cannot lose sight of that just because we're looking for something to give hope to us. And that is a part of expectations. That's a part of just understanding the thought process with this thing, man.
Did I read this one? Is this what prompted the conversation? Come on, you're saying season ain't over. This sucks, but you can't quit on them.
Maybe. I don't think so though.
Or it just had to do with the last.
And I just saw maybe we had some freaky bots in here while I was talking, man. Hey, my bad. Deke, tell your friends go home.
Come on, yeah. He says, let's be real. Canada ain't it. We all know it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that completely, man. I think that he still did some positive things yesterday, as we talked about. Tape don't lie to me, but you know, if we're talking about the consistency element or how fast he makes the adjustments, that is something that he still has to continue to get better at. Absolutely.
Gorilla mode. Don't know how you can watch Pickett and not be encouraged. Best player on the offense yesterday and adds to his game weekly. Climbing the pocket, delivering on a rope accurately. Doing all this in spite of an inadequate OC.
It's just a young squad, bro, on the offensive side of the ball, man. And they're inconsistent. And inconsistency is what you get from young players. Veteran players, it's just a consistency thing because they know how to be dialed in. They know the professionalism. They know what it takes Monday through Saturday before you even get out there on Sunday. Whereas with younger players, they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out, man, how much is enough work? How much is enough study? They're trying to figure out, hey, when is enough of me trying to improvise versus me allowing the scheme to take, you know, the priority. Those are what you learn as a young player. And that's why typically your young players are role players. Your young players are typically sprinkled in. Even Jamar Chase last year, right? They still had a Tyler Boyd and a T. Higgins out there. Granted, he emerged and he became the guy, but it was like you still had other pieces where now you're just asking this guy to be a part of. Even when Joe Burrow got there, right? You still had your Tyler Boyd. You still had a Joe Mixon. So it was like, yo, I need you to be elite at times, but you still have other pieces around. Right now for us, we got a lot of youth on offense. A lot of you trying to figure it out. But when that's happening in stadium and you're relying on those guys to not just be role players, to actually be the person that is moving this offense, that's a challenge on a week in and week out basis for a young player. Whether it's George Pickens, whether it's Najee Harris, whether it's Kenny Pickett, whether it's Pat Freiermuth, you even see with Deontay Johnson at times, how even he's still struggling with consistency because it is not easy to do at this level, man. And every week it gets more challenging. You know why? Because every time you do something good on tape, you know what a defender like me or everybody else is doing? We picking up on that. And now we trying to figure out what can we do to make that not work for you next time. If you're Minka Fitzpatrick and you're watching Kenny Pickett, you're seeing him do some positive things. You're saying, okay, well, let's try to focus on this to take this away and let's see what he does after that. And for rookies, you're finally like, oh, I finally found something I can do good. Great. Oh, no, they took that away. What else can I do? I don't know yet. Let me figure it out. And the guys that can figure it out, they last,
counter
right?
to the counter.
Absolutely. It's all about the adjustments. At the NFL level, it's less about the talent and more about the mind, that strategy part of it, those little details. And that's why you see around the league, the scores be reflected how they are. We laugh and we're like, man, how does this team beat this team? How did the Detroit Lions beat the New York Giants, right? And it's like, man, the New York Giants are hot. They're kicking tail, man. They're doing all this. It's a little details, little things. You get in the game, man, and you hit a couple of those little things and they don't. Now we up on them. Because the talent, everybody's talented. Everybody's good. But little details, the schematics, the mental part, and that's what we are lacking at times with this team. But that's also a part of the process. You have to figure that out, and the only way you can do that is by actually going through it.
It's a good way to put it because you got to do it. I'm thinking back to Martavis. Whenever he came in with that offense, he was like really the only young guy. We had a full veteran offensive
you had
line.
Marcus Wheaton.
Big
you
Ben
had
already. So it's cool if
what I'm
he's
saying?
having some young person slip ups here and there because you literally have everyone else that could pick up the slack.
And did he not have some drops?
Martavis?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now think about this, though. Him having drops when you had an AB, when you have we didn't have Heath at the time. We was Ladarius for a little bit and
Jesse.
And then you had L. Bell. So you have multiple pieces around. So that drop isn't as important, right?
Because Martavis would even make a big play. But I get your point. Like someone else is going to pick up the slack.
But imagine if that was your guy you're featuring. You're like, hold on, bro. You can't be doing that. Because now that kills our offense. We don't have an alternative. At times, we're trying to figure that thing out.
Everyone's young.
Yeah.
Literally, everyone's young. Everyone's learning on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to put it. Dude, you know how many times, though, whenever I post some of these videos after the games, where opponents' fans will hop in and comment and say, like, yo, good game. Like, I think Pickett's a real one. Like, I see the starting stages with this offense and with the quarterback.
It's different.
It's unfortunate our own fans can't see that.
Well, and I was going to say, you also have to remember, too, for us, it's different because we are intimately living this day every day, right? We follow this team. We watch this team since training camp, every report that comes out. So we will tire on certain things quicker. We expect certain things faster. And I just feel like our sense of just reality as it pertains to our team is skewed because of how close we are, how focused we are on it. Versus when you look around the league, it's like, man, we're not the only team that's dealing with this type of stuff. You think we're the only team that's dealing with quarterback issues or young player issues, coordinator issues, finishing game issues? Man, there's plenty of teams around the league that are dealing with that. The problem is we don't care about that because we're so focused right here, and it makes it feel as if we're the only teams dealing with this. So now we create this pressure pot, right? This anxiety, this, I got to get it right now because we can get past. It's like, nah, man, everybody doing the same stuff right here, man. It's all about who is going to trust their process the most. And for me, I hang my hat on the Steeler way because of what? The proven track record. Whereas when you look at some of the quick fix teams, right? We talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars and how they love to spin. They're super aggressive, right?
Hell, you're even seeing with the Chargers, and they got a stud quarterback.
You're seeing with the Rams. It's not like you have the teams like us, like Baltimore, right? Even New England to an extent where it's like, man, they're going to commit and they're going to try to build and stick to their method. And you can see why they have a little bit more a lot more longevity in terms of always being relevant, always being in the conversation. But then you look at some of the other teams where it's like, okay, you might have a good season here or there, but then you look at these droughts they go through. And that is a part of the cultural philosophy. If you're looking for a quick fix, okay, you can go that route, but just understand the ramifications of that quick fix. If you're looking for long-term success, well, this is also a negative with that, but just understand the pros and cons to each one. And once you do that, then you can figure out which one you want. But for me, I'd rather have the long-term success. And I think when we always beat our chest talking about 6 rings, you think about that's long-term success. When you hear us talk about no losing seasons, that's long-term success because the NFL has been around for what, over 100 years. Has there been a team to win more than 6 Super Bowls? No. So you're telling me less than out of 100 plus seasons, what we're only going to win a Super Bowl less than 10% of the times. And then in terms of how many teams have actually made appearances, right? What's the most appearances a team has?
We got to have like one of the top 3 or 4 like win
even
percentages
right?
since like the 60s or 70s, just overall.
Right.
Yeah, and then deep playoff runs. We've had that with Cowher. We had it with Tomlin.
So it's like
obviously Chuck Noll.
We have all the stuff that we're hollering and screaming about, but now that we're finally going through some of the rough patches of it, we lose sight of that. And that's the part that's kind of like crazy to me because it's like, man, everything that we want, all these other teams are hunting for what we've already had, what we're dealing with. And we're kind of forgetting that because now we're on the back end of it. But we're still going to hop right back in this thing because we already have that foundation laid and we're seeing it now. But that context, that development is key going forward. And that's what we're going to see if they can continue doing it. So that way it's not a 5-year drought, 10-year drought, 20-year drought. It's like a half a season or it's a 2-season thing. And now we right back in this thing. That's the process we're in right now.
Yeah, I like everything you said there. And another thing to consider with the 3 coaches that we've had over the last 50, 60 years, even with Noll, even with Bill Cowher, they had some losing seasons. And they were through multiple quarterbacks. But there was always some bounce back. You know, Cowher, from what I can remember at least, I mean, I was way too young at this time, but we had some really good success mid-'90s. But then there was a little bit of a drop-off. We came back early 2000s with, like, Cordell, and then ultimately he wins the Super Bowl with Ben. It's like, dude, we've had it so good. We've really had it so good. And not saying we still can't have it good right now because I weirdly believe in this team still.
But this is a part of it, though. It's like we have to get through these. Now, not saying that it can't happen in a week. Not saying that it can't happen in a couple of games. But this is the process that we have to get through. We can't just skip this step right here. And we're just going through it. You have to literally learn how to win at this level, man, because it is different. It's nothing like what you're going to ever see in college or in high school. You have to learn this thing and then to learn to do it consistently. It's not easy, man. But with the team that we have, if they can capture that sooner rather than later, you can see how we're setting ourselves up long term as well, because it's a lot of youth that's out there right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
100%. Cliff the Dark Knight. I'm coming to the Berg in 3 weeks. What's a good spot to eat out there? Moats, that jacket's clean.
Appreciate it. Go Dukes, man. Got my this is not my actual college letterman, but this is the custom that I had made after I had started to have my pockets lined up a little bit. We'll leave it at that.
Is it custom lined up on the inside even too?
No, but I got my names and stuff in here, man. I'm custom up, We keep it nice. Yeah. A little something like that, man. Yeah.
Go to Permanis.
Go to the strip district.
Yeah,
walk around.
Just go to, if this is your first time.
The strip district is where you want to be, man. You got Pamela's down there too. Yeah, that's a breakfast spot. You obviously got Permanis down that way. Yeah. And it's just like the touristy hangout spot too, man. You'll see like a ton of just Pittsburgh stuff. So I would say that too.
Darius Mayo. Do you think our middle linebackers were the weakest link last game? The Perrine hat trick and the third down conversions felt like disadvantage against the Bengals.
Yeah, I thought that they won the matchup in terms of the productivity part. Yeah, 3 touchdowns through the air, and it wasn't as if these were like 3-yard just completions to the flat in the red zone. Like, nah, he was actually getting some yardage, man. So yesterday, could they have been better? Yes. I think their tackling wasn't as good. And I think that was across the board for our secondary. It was a lot of run after taking place, and that was uncharacteristic because typically we have been tackling a lot better this season. But yeah, the inside linebackers, they definitely could have played better. That was a part of it. They could have.
Any thoughts on Minka being out there?
It's still crazy to see. Still crazy. I still don't, but I'm like, bro, what in the heck? Like, this dude's a psychopath, man. Shout out to Minka, man. I hope that everything continues to work out well for him, man. Yeah, psychopath though. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to everything we said last podcast. I just hope he's making the best decision for him. But once he makes the decision, and if Tomlin's signing off on it, and whatever doctors we have in house, obviously he's not putting himself at further risk. I would assume.
Right.
We got a lot of smart people in there, and Tomlin's obviously
Yeah.
going to protect the players at all costs because that's his track record. So, yeah, he's good to go. My question is, did you feel like there was just a loss of step with him or something like that? Oh, no. Should we just had Casey out there? Oh, no. He wasn't making any like big-time plays, so that's why I'm curious.
Minkah, I mean, he still played well. Don't get it twisted. He played well, but yeah, it's
He didn't do anything bad.
Yeah, it's just.
I just wanted, like, I didn't think Casey played that much.
Yeah.
They were talking about this whole 3 safety rotation. I didn't think we got to see it.
Yeah, I would agree. We did not get to see it as much.
Like, how would you have felt of maybe having Casey one-on-one with one of these receivers instead of having them all out there?
So this is the thing. Casey, size-wise, in terms of his frame, yes. I don't know if he's the answer to T. Higgins in the slot, though. I need a Cam Sutton, potentially, with just great finish. Because you look at Arthur Maulet, he was in position a lot of those completions.
A fair amount of them, yeah.
It wasn't like there was great separation. It was just Higgins doing what?
Yeah, even the one that he passed, it was a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
He's just going up
no-name receiver
and getting it. But Maulet is in perfect position. So I think Casey could finish better, but I don't think Casey's going to be in that position versus T. Higgins to even make that play on the ball. That's why I say Cam Sutton, because Cam is capable hip-wise, hand-wise, and just being a true corner, and he has a little bit more size. But when T. Higgins is finishing the way that he was finishing and Burrow was as accurate as he was at times yesterday, man, we at the NFL level, we say this, man. You can play great defense, but sometimes great offense will beat great defense, man. When you put that ball up and it's like, hey, you got him lost, you know why that became a thing, right? Because it's like, yo, that's unguardable. When this guy goes up and does that, or he takes it and does that, there's no answer for that. So when I'm looking at Arthur Maulet, I'm like, yeah, we can get upset about it, but which player on our roster right now is winning those in terms of being in position along with the finish? Because I'm like, yeah, this guy has the finish, but he's not going to keep up. This guy can keep up, but he ain't going to have to finish. And that's a part of the matchup. And at the NFL level, it is about matchups. And is T. Higgins a 1,000-yard receiver, yes or no?
Yeah, he's good.
Has T. Higgins proven that he is a 1,000-yard receiver, yes or no?
I just didn't think he was going to do that against us.
But has T. Higgins shown that he can be a really, really good receiver in this league? Has he shown
really that? Good? Like, that was wide receiver number 1 stuff he was doing yesterday.
And outside of Jamar Chase coming there, wasn't he also part of the conversation of can he be a number 1 wide receiver?
Yeah, he's still young, but you could tell the intangibles were there for him.
Sometimes.
And he did it. I mean, it surprised me. I thought our defense was going to be so much better overall than what it did yesterday.
I did,
and particularly
as well.
with them not having Jamar Chase. We usually do good when there's like one receiver you got to lock in on. And yesterday it was T. Higgins.
But the problem
we let him expose us.
The problem was this. Usually we do have a corner that can match it energy for energy. I don't feel like we had that guy yesterday. And then when you complement that or compound that with the fact that, hey, schematically, they know one of our weaknesses defensively in terms of we don't travel our corners, this is something that they're going to attack. So part of that, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, how do you combat it if you're not going to help out Arthur Maulet by switching him, right? And the reason why you don't switch him is this. It just changes the rules of your defense. So when it's static, like how they were aligning in it with T. Higgins in the slot, it's easier because we can all do what? Hey, Deke, I'm the outside corner, you're the slot. We're going to switch. You just got the deep third. I got this guy man-to-man, okay? That's cool, right? You got this. You got deep third. I got man-to-man. But that was when they lined up in it. Now that we done flip, what happens when they motion? Hey, Deke, you got an adjustment out here now. I'm not with you no more. Do you know your adjustment? Hey, Moats, now that you're in the slot, when it shifts formation and the passive shift changes, oh, you're no longer man on this. Now you're playing outside coverage on this, okay? You got outside leverage now. Do you know that? And it's happening like that, right? So when you're talking about why we won't switch those guys at times, it's because of that. When they're lining in static, it's very easy to identify, circle, and say, hey, just switch those 2 dudes. But once you start doing that, their response after that is line up in this, and we're just going to build the formation elsewhere. Line them on that side just to get that corner to switch with this slot, and then we're going to motion and flip the formation. We're going to isolate them like this. Oh, now we're going to get Arthur Milet on the outside. And, hey, let's build this formation where you start in the slot, but now you realign out there. And let's see what this outside corner who's now in the slot going to do. Now he's just wasting away. So there are things that they could do to combat that. And for us to keep it simplified, because you don't want to have a situation where you're trying to create a ton of one-off scenarios for your defense. Because now I can't play fast. You can't play fast because I'm telling you, hey, Deke, you always got the deep third on cover 3 unless you get this formation, unless it's this formation as well, unless it's that one. And you're like, bro, well, what coverage are we even playing anymore? So that's the pros and the cons, and that's why we can't do it. But
it's just like the basic rules for our defense.
Right. So the answer to it is you expect your pass rush to be better, and you need your safety help to be a lot better, but you also just have to have better finish. And unfortunately, we weren't getting the finishes. Typically, you say this. You'll say, hey, I will live with the Milet matchup because he's going to at least win 2 out of 5, or he'll at least win 2 out of 6. The problem was he didn't win any of them. And that's what kind of killed you.
Yeah,
you know?
He didn't draw any of them out. And
he's
been known for that this season. He's been pretty good at that.
You see what I'm saying? So if he could have got 1 or 2, it changes the dynamic. But because he doesn't, and it's just 4 or 5 in a row, you're like, bro, it's broken. We can't do anything today. It's like, what's going on? But that's the difference. You make 1 or 2 of those plays, offensively, they're not going to call it as much because now they're saying, okay, this guy can defend it. But until he could defend that, they were going to keep coming back to it and just do it different ways. And that's what we saw, unfortunately.
So my one thought, though, as an adjustment, just based off the personnel that we had, you could tell me one way or the other.
Let's talk about it.
Would just be throwing Cam Sutton on T. Higgins in the slot and then bringing in James Pierre instead of having Arthur Milet outside.
Well, it depends on how you feel about James Pierre. And that's something that it could have tried.
Yeah,
but
that's literally my only thought. And then your next question would be how much better Cam Sutton would have done against T. Higgins
you see what I'm saying?
Versus Arthur Milet. I would assume he would have done better, at least yesterday.
No, but like this, Cam Sutton would have done better. But now, okay, who's going to be the answer when they're trying to do something different receiver-wise on the outside? Do you feel comfortable with James Pierre? We will say yes for conversation.
I think it would have been at least worth a shot yesterday.
Right, but that's my thing. It's like we all have mixed feelings about James Pierre. The same way we had mixed feelings about Levi Wallace at times yesterday, right?
Yeah, goddamn.
Yeah, okay, and he had a turnover too, right? But it's still a mixed bag because what? It still is as consistent as we would like it to be. It's still not always a guaranteed win.
He did that against the Bills. Got the pick against the Bills, but then was getting cooked every other play.
So once again, when we say, okay, put Cam Sutton on the inside, all right, well, what does that mean with some of these outside situations then? Like, how confident are we that Levi's going to hold up? How confident are we that James Pierre is going to hold up? And that, once again, is what you're dealing with right now. Now, part of it, Akello, he's injured. He's not out there. William Jackson, he's not out there. So you don't have the guys that you necessarily would expect or hope could answer that. But that's when you have to make your adjustments. And that's when I say, okay, you either need to start heating it up so that way Burrow has to get rid of it faster.
Couldn't get any pressure, dude.
Right.
It's terrible.
But part of that was because of what they did schematically, alignment-wise, and moving Higgins to the slot because that was a faster win. You always press up, or majority of the time as a slot corner, you're going to press up because you got an off-ball linebacker, off-ball, or on-ball corner, and you don't want to run into these dudes. So you're getting press coverage. So now, if you get this guy's hands and you beat it off the line of scrimmage, that's a win right now. Or how often do we like to blitz our slot corner? We like to Mike Hill in, Arthur Milet, right? We say, hey, man, that's the blitzer, right?
Yeah, we did a fair amount yesterday.
So what do we do? So what do you do if you're Cincinnati? Okay, we're going to read this guy anyways. Receiver, Higgins, Boyd, I want you right here. Hayden Hurst, you right here on the slot, okay? If he runs and it's a blitz, well, hey, you're the hot receiver anyways. I'm getting you the ball. If he stays, he's pressed up. We like the matchup anyways. So schematics, good on them. Good coaching on their part. And that also is a part of this thing. They know what we like to do strength and weakness-wise. The same way we know what they like to do strength and weakness-wise. That's why the division games are typically so tight because it's such familiarity between them. You play them twice a year and you repeat that every single year. It's not like, oh, we play this division once every 4 years or this is out of conference game. They don't really know us. We don't really know them. Like, nah, they going to know how to attack us the same way we going to know how to attack them. But it's all about who's going to execute in those areas now because you're not going to just fool them. The same way they're not going to just fool us. You didn't think we knew they were going to go and slot and this how they're going to try to attack that? Nah. But the problem was we just didn't get the finishes that we were at least banking our hat on or hanging our hat on.
8-2-8 style. Canada's biggest problem is not the plays. It's when to call the plays for more than a quarter or two with 60 minutes. The scheme is there and it's fire.
Mm-hmm.
He's complimentary of Canada.
Yeah, but he does have to learn how to do it for 4 quarters. The same with his offense has to learn how to be consistent for 4 quarters.
Ryan McPherson, Moats, how was your recent time in Aliquippa? That's my second hometown after Phoenix. My dad is from there and played receiver at Aliquippa High School. He
Let's
played
go.
Dan Marino, too.
Let's go. Nah, I salute you, man. Yeah, so what I was talking about when we were in here
You doing the
last
STEM
weekend,
stuff,
Steelers
right?
STEM. We were at Aliquippa Middle School on Thursday, then Baldwin Middle School on Friday. Nah, it was love, man. Shout out to Aliquippa, man. They turn up over there, man. It was a good group, though. I like them over there, man. Obviously, we know it's a ton of athletic ability over there, man. But those kids, man, they were tapped in, man. They were really eager about the STEM process and program. So, I definitely had a good time out there.
Kyle Monier, when it comes to crucial moments, we 3-and-out. I really wonder if we have the most 3-and-outs in the league. Canada screwed over Ben, Mitch, and now Kenny.
Yeah, our 3-and-out situation isn't always the most glamorous at times. But as we've given plenty of context on, that is a part of it.
828 style. I can see the potential in KP8. He's getting there slowly but surely. I'm not even mad at the loss because I see the future. We're young and about to blow up.
I'm leaning your way.
I'm pissed about the loss because I feel like it could be now.
We
feel like
actually we letting one slip away.
Yep. Yeah, we could at least go on just some type of run here, playoffs. We put ourselves way too much up against the wall with our first half record.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a part of it. That's why this loss feels so just significant.
Because
we screwed ourselves over.
We let go, but the first half definitely put not the first half of this game, but the first half of the season, it put us in this position where our margin of error is extremely small. We have to get every win because of the lack of productivity in the first half of the season. But it's still something that they are capable of doing, and that's what we got to let the story play out the way that it is. I mean, plenty of teams go on runs, and we were looking like, how did this team win 6 in a row? How did this team win 5 in a row? How did this team win 7 in a row? Yeah, so it's part of the process, man. But we're gonna find out who the real and who not real player. Let's go.
James R. Jeffers. Moats, when did Steeler fans get so soft? Nolan Cowher eras was much harder to deal with. Folks didn't live through those years. This is nothing.
I appreciate you bringing up that context. I don't feel like I don't want to say that all the time because I feel like it might come off a little like tone deaf for me. But when y'all say it, I'm like, you know what? Thank you. Because I do feel like that at times. It's like, man, this is nothing. Like, I've been in a Buffalo before it was cool to be in Buffalo. I was out there in AZ. That was, yeah.
I told you, there are a lot of fakes and fair weathers among us here. It's really disappointing because even going back.
I call them front runners. They're front runners because they're accustomed to the success.
That's a fair way to put it.
It is easy to latch onto success. It's hard to stay when it's rough. And that's when you can understand who your real ones are and who your fake ones are. In the sense of just like relationships, right? When you got a person that's with you around for the good times, it's like, man, it's easy to be around me when we up. But what about when we down? Who gonna be here when we getting it out the mud? Before we get to the success, who's gonna be here when we don't got sponsors, Deke? When they not tuning in for the lives, Deke? When we over here trapping out the back, you know what I'm saying, baby? Yeah, who gonna be here for that? That's what you find out, man.
I'm glad you didn't go for the high five there.
Nah, I learned my lesson.
Dude, I even tried to warn you this a couple times, though. I remember back in 2012 or 2013, we had Ben. I think we had AB at the time, too. And we were 2-6 at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, the stadium, I remember witnessing it. The yellow seats. It was the Bumblebee game where Calvin Johnson and AB, they both went off. Yep. I just remember witnessing the amount of those empty yellow seats. You would have thought it was a Pitt game. I was like, this is damn sad.
That's crazy.
This is so goddamn sad. Combine that with just people randomly shitting on Ben throughout his career, even though he's, Hall of Fame quarterback, the franchise quarterback. It's just a shame.
Yeah.
Come on here. I'm glad we don't have Zach Wilson at quarterback.
The Mill Slayer. Bro, that was a crazy ending to that game. Holy cow, bruh.
I didn't get to see it. I just saw the score, 10-3. I heard something about a punt return.
3-3.
Was it a punt return
30
touchdown?
seconds left in the game. They punt the ball, and he runs it back, bruh. That's how they lost. Sick. Mm-hmm.
I saw a meme that said Belichick's
bro.
more pumped about this win than any of his Super Bowl wins. It was a special teams punt return for the win. He loves that.
Bro, watch it. It was just like, yo, did that really just happen? Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts, bro. Nuts.
Come on here. Ben bailed out Canada 7 times last year. Hashtag Sabotage7. Thank you for keeping the message going. AJ Martinez. Let's go prayers and love to all in the chat. Happy birthday to the torture lady, Joni, my healer, massage therapist, dry needle, acupuncture, cupping. She brings me back from the dead at times.
Isn't that the truth? You got to shout out all your torture ladies. I got one as well. Her name is Missy. Shout out to Missy. Absolutely, man. So, yes, Joni, keep doing your thing. Keep my man AJ feeling good. Yeah, Deke, I get you a torture later every once in a while, man. It feels like torture while they're doing it, and then afterwards you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better now. Okay,
I get what you're saying.
but you don't need a ton of different ones. You just I gotta throw that out there as well. Okay, yeah, all right, just one or two is all you need. You don't need no whole 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm all right. Right. We're gonna leave that at that.
Stick with what works.
Yep, we're gonna leave that at that.
Xavier Cunningham, thoughts on the game camera angle changed to see the field? I don't know. I was at the game. Well, and then whenever I rewatched,
yeah, I watched the condensed.
I watched the game and everything was normal. So I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
828 style. Deke Moats, is it just me or do I see there is becoming a problem with 18? Because 14 will be taking many of his targets. His body gestures speaks volumes.
Deontay, he's just passionate, man. I look at it like this. I think that at times Deontay Johnson is very misunderstood, but he's one of them dudes that he reminds me, not in a negative way, but in a positive way of like AB's competitive nature of like pissed off, like if he's not helping or if he's not being a part of, like he wants to be, you know, one of the reasons why this team is good. And Deontay is more than capable of that. So I do feel like at times, I know what you're saying, how his body language is or how he gets demonstrative at times. It's because he is so like wanting to prove it. And part of that is because of the criticism that he's received. Part of that is also because of the contract that he has. And he feels like, it's, you want to live up to that. You want to prove the naysayers wrong. The people that said he wasn't worth $18 million, he wants to prove them wrong. He also wants to be one of the reasons when we're talking about in the offseason and we're saying, who do you draft? Who are you bringing in free agency? Who are you building around? He wants to be one of those guys that we're saying, yes, you want to build around this guy. You don't want him to be Chase Claypool and ship him out. That's also why he gets so like pissed off and so frustrated, because he's trying to do all of that. And at times when it's not going for you, whether that's because of you not catching the ball or if it's because schematically you're not being, schemed to be the first or second read, or thirdly, you're just, not getting the attention that you want from your quarterback. Like those type of things can definitely show up. And when you are the $18 million receiver that everybody is going to look to, especially when you see George Pickens playing the way that he's playing, he gonna feel some type of way. So it's normal, but for him, don't look at it as like necessarily a negative in the sense of like he'll be a cancer, stuff like that. Just look at it as, this dude is really invested in this thing and it truly matters to him. And that's what you want. You would much rather there be like that than the guys that are showing no emotion. They just are kind of like laissez-faire with it. Like, all right, it is what it is. Like, you don't want that. You want them dudes to wear it. Like, I'd rather you wear that emotion, man, because if I know you care like that, man, we could channel everything else. We could fix everything else. But if I don't know if you actually are invested or if you actually care, if you're actually going to stay committed through these hard times, well, I don't know if I can build with you going forward. So that's how I look at that Deontay Johnson situation, man, with how he is, because I definitely have seen some of the stuff you're talking about, man.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, and you're 100% right. You'd rather it be where a dude gets a contract and wants to prove it outside, or instead of dude gets a contract and then just takes a back seat and is like chilling. I got my money.
I can tell you first.
We even heard about James Daniel. Remember James Daniel in the offseason? Whenever you talked to him, he got that contract from us, and he's like,
I want to prove it.
Dude, I want to prove this. Like, I'm really focused. I want to make sure Steeler fans in the organization feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Whereas Deke, I've had them conversations with them dudes when they get paid, and they like, bro, I'm good. What they gonna do? Cut me? I'm good. The check is gonna clear. You know what they gonna do? They gonna fire me. I'm gonna be on somebody's little beach, and I'm gonna check my mail every 1st and 15th, and I'm gonna have my little drink with the little umbrella in it, the little fruit one with the colors in it, the little passion fruit joint. You know what I mean? I know some dudes that's their energy, Deke. So I definitely would rather it be this Deontay Johnson style where you're just so pissed off and you want to show it because you're really committed and you want to live up to this contract. So I'm cool with that right now, man.
And it's not like I don't think Pickett wants to go to him, because there's a quote I saw from Pickett saying like Deontay Johnson gets like open the fastest in the league. It's like what do you say? His in and out move or whatever is like the best in the league. Like, I got to give him the ball more. So
his ability to win off the one-on-one off the line.
Yeah,
is
so hopefully
crazy,
that connection just continues to build. Yeah. I just don't think they're in sync right now to the degree that Pickett and Pickens is in sync. That's really it. If that's all it is, then I'm fine with it.
And it makes sense why. You want me to tell you? So
Go
check
ahead.
it out.
Go ahead.
When you think about George Pickens, right? his impact early on has been felt doing what? Vertical route, stop route. Why? Because it's the easiest route to run, right? I'm bigger, I'm faster. Throw it up, I'm going to go get it. Okay, he's on top. I'm going to stop, you go back shoulder. It's kind of like Randy Moss when he first came in the league, right? Stretch it up top, run the stop route. So when you're a quarterback, right, and you're young, before you learn how to read defense at the NFL level, what's the easiest thing that you're going to see? My guy faster than your guy running down the field, let me put it up. And early on, what have we been seeing? Even dating back to training camp with George Pickens and Kenny Pickett. The vertical. Throw the go ball. Either you're throwing it up top or you're going back shoulder. It's an easier throw. It's an easier read. Whereas Deontay, he's winning one-on-one, but him winning at times, is it NFL open or is it college open? So if I'm this quarterback and I'm young and I'm trying to process what's this coverage, is this guy really there? Is he not there? Am I about to throw this into a trap? Like, what am I doing right here? I ain't gonna mess with that. That's a different look. Whereas when you talk about 7 last year, 7 far more advanced in terms of reading coverages. Who was his favorite person to throw to last year?
Slants across the
Come
middle
on,
to
man.
Deontay.
And why was that? Because he's like, yo, this guy's winning right now, and I can read this right now, and I know how to make an NFL caliber throw in the short to interim, right? He knows how to do that. He could do that. And that was the one thing that you could hang your head on. He gonna go to Deontay because Deontay know how to win. But for Kenny, he's just a younger quarterback. So his vision, his confidence in what he believes, he just sees it differently. This is a lot easier to throw. If I'm long and I overthrow it, that's a safe, long foul ball. If I back shoulder it, arrow on the side of putting it towards the sideline, it'll be out of bounds if I miss. Deontay, man, if I throw that ball back, if I throw it behind him and it's late, that's an interception. If I lead him too far, it's a linebacker or safety in there. You got to be a lot more perfect. You got to be a lot more confident. And that's
it's getting there because he tried in that Saints game whenever Deontay got his like jersey pulled or whatnot. I mean, that would have been taking 70 yards to the house.
So once again, you can see the growth, the progression, and the attempts where it needs to be. But that's also a part of just his progression. And it's different. It's a lot easy, man, when we in this room. It's a lot easy when you sitting there with that film clicker, man. And you're like, oh, yeah, man, I see you beat that dude. I could throw that front side. Yeah. Until you out there and you're like, hold on, bro, that DB kind of fast. And that linebacker is like, he got eyes on it. Yes, they know you're going there. Yes, you're going to get hit. Throw that ball low right here, back hip, so that way he can catch it, protect himself, or you lean it so he can get in there and go, you know? But you got to be able to read that. You got to know what you're doing. And that's a part of his progression. But he'll get it. Yeah.
Kamonier. I think this is Kamonier.
Yes.
I have his name cut off on my screenshot.
Go ahead and start
He
sweating,
says,
man. Talking all this Kenny Pickett talk today. Jeez. Dang.
Says we're getting, so you see with the Pickett Burrow comparisons, huh? I heard you say that earlier in the podcast.
Oh my God. I said the name Pickett and I said the name Burrow. I don't know how you got this comparison or this comp. All I said was both of their names.
I see you're coming around.
I'm not doing that.
We're getting hit with the what did he say? We're getting hit dub in Indy. We're getting the dub in I don't know what he said.
Yeah, we're gonna get hit for the dub and win in Indy.
Tomlin lives for Monday Night Football.
This is true.
What's his record? Just in general, he's
time,
pretty good in
nice
primetime games.
Time.
AJ Martinez, the defense played great till the tank went empty. Deke can't score all the points in a shootout. The defense needs to play 75% of the game to protect the offense. I didn't think the defense was that good.
Nah. Defense had some plays situationally, and even when they weren't getting stops, they still, like I said, the interception, man, that was still a big-time play, even while they were railing. But they could have been better. They definitely could have been better because our expectation for them is a lot more than what we saw yesterday.
That was my whole thing today because a lot of people are saying, hey, what do you blame more, the offense or the defense? Blame both because the defense did give the offense opportunities in the second half to try to go back up. But ultimately, we got all these resources and money allocated to the defense. And I thought, with everyone being healthy, TJ Watt being back against the Bengals team without Jamar Chase, I'm like, bro, that should have been under 20 points. Yeah. Whereas the offense, man, we're hoping for over 20 points, and they got that. And
they gave us 30.
Handedly.
They gave us 30, man.
Exactly. So that's, it's both. It's a combination of both. I'm more pissed about the defense, though.
Yeah, but the expectations, we expect our defense to be a lot better, and that's the issue, you know?
Well, and also how it happened. 3 running back screens.
Yeah.
3 running back screens.
Poor tackling at times.
And then some of them were long. I think weren't 2 of them like 90-yard drives as well. That's just really frustrating.
Methodical execution.
And it's not like the offense, like Pickett threw a pick and then set up the defense where Burrow had it on the 50 or anything like that. Yeah. It was just really frustrating. Let's go, UW. Cam Sutton, 103.1 QB rating against Arthur Millette. This is almost Arthur Millette's our boy too. 154.5 QB rating against Levi Wallace allowed 2 30-plus yard catches.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers corners haven't played well enough this year. Bunch of 2s, no 1s.
And honestly, that's a fair criticism. These are players very similar to when we talk about the offense, right? Guys trying to prove it. Chuks Okorafor, right? First time getting his contract, he's trying to prove he could be the guy. James Daniels, right? First time getting a contract, trying to prove he could be the guy. Mason Cole trying to prove he could be the guy, right? Well, when we talk about Levi Wallace, when you're talking about Cam Sutton to an extent, these guys are trying to prove that they can be cornerback one. We talk about Arthur Mallette. You heard the story when he came up here. He's talking about he was cut multiple times, man. And honestly, he came here and it just clicked and it started to work, right? Even he, who just got his contract this offseason, trying to prove that he can be that guy consistently enough. And at times they do flash that. But yeah, when you're asking certain players to match up with certain guys, that's going to be a challenge. And that was some of the questions and critiques that we had on the even in training camp when we talked about what? We said, man, our corners do good against every player except George Pickens. And I said, man, this could be a good thing or this could be a scary thing. Either George Pickens is just otherworldly or we got corners that can't guard elite players. And if you got corners that can't guard elite players, that means you don't have a number one corner. And that's where we're at right now. You're right. And it's okay. It's letting you know.
Yeah, those are still all good players.
I'll still take them. You still build with them, but you're learning that. But you're not going to learn that if you don't go through this process, right? We also need the context of, man, what does our full gamut look like if it's a Kello out there, if Will Jackson is out there as well? Because that could potentially tell a different story. But we don't have that luxury right now. So all of that is the context. But yeah, the corners, man, when you're talking about those guys matching up against the T. Higgins, do you expect them to be more competitive? Yes. But I'm not going to act like I expect those dudes to blanket T. Higgins when T. Higgins is a 1,000-yard receiver and is a proven player and is on pace to have another 1,000-yard season. Like, man, that'd be like us looking at Deontay Johnson as a 1,000-yard receiver and say, hey, man, why can't you just line up out there and just shut him down? Or George Pickens get 1,000 yards. We're like, why don't you just shut down George Pickens? Eli Apple? It's like, no. So why do we expect our guys that are not quote unquote elite or top tier to just match up with a 1,000-yard receiver and, oh yeah, man, shut him down because he's T. Higgins. He's not Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase top 5. T. Higgins, he's just a 1,000-yard receiver. Now you can stop that. You catch my drift? Like, that's what we do though at times.
My thing too is the pressure wasn't there either.
It wasn't.
Burrow could sit back there. He was getting the ball out pretty quick. There were some times we were just dropping back in zone and he was picking us apart, a la Brady, like 10 years ago. But yeah, no pressure getting to Burrow, and Burrow playing good. Maybe he just gives them some credit too. You say, hey, the Bengals actually play good. They got some good players. Yeah. But ultimately, still, we should have been better on defense.
We should have been.
I still feel that way.
We should have been.
Maximus. Kenny is playing as well as he can with Canada calling plays. If the Steelers aren't going to fire Canada, give that man some Adderall. That might help him call better plays. Pickett to Pickens. Do they drug test coordinators for performance-enhancing drugs? I mean, I get it, but at the same time, the thing that he puts at the end is Pickett to Pickens. How many times was that schemed up, called up, and actually executed? Well, not executed perfectly, but the timing of the call perfectly at times, right? So you're kind of contradicting your own self by even calling Pickett to Pickens, because we saw that multiple times, beautifully schemed up, where 2 of them should have definitely been touchdowns. We only got 1 touchdown, but we should have had even more touchdowns, potentially 2 that were left out there. So I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? Because you can't say one thing and then you highlight this, and that was definitely on display yesterday, man. Chris, hey, Deke, Madden dropped a free 88 overall Najee Harris card.
Hey now.
For the new Snickers promo.
What up, Doe?
Hopefully he's faster than the boss. Maybe I could use him.
Man, Najee was out yesterday, man. 4.5 on the ground per tote.
Yeah, he played really good.
Bro,
I like what I'm saying.
He hurdled the way that I like him to hurdle. Into the end zone. Was it beautiful? It was beautiful.
Yeah,
man.
You could do it when you do it like that.
Hey, that was beautiful
I was really bummed about Warren going down, though, because I do feel like we missed him in the second half. He is one of those guys on a 3rd and 6 or a 3rd and 7, because he actually did it.
He did the first one.
Was it the first quarter or the second quarter? Whenever he got the ball.
He did. That's exactly what we used him for.
Pickett stepped up in the pocket. He had that safety valve in Warren. Oh, he's 4 yards short of the first down. Don't matter. It's Jalen Warren. He's going to get the first down. You're going to miss a tackle. He's going to weave in and out.
Shoot, speaking of Jalen Warren.
That's what we missed.
Speaking of Jalen Warren, he's actually our guest on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll actually have Jalen Warren joining the show at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. So, yeah, man, make sure y'all tell a friend to tell a friend, and y'all tune in as
Maybe have some good questions.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. We can ask him anything except about the injury. So, just throwing that out there. They already told us, don't ask about the injury. So, we're not asking. All right. But make sure I hit the like button, too, while y'all at it. But, yeah, man. So, shout out to Jalen Warren. He will be joining us, like I said, on Wednesday, 4 p.m.
It's getting so bad, fans are becoming rookie haters. That's coming from a Dropson or a Slipson and Edmonds hater. Here we go, Steelers. Yeah, Sean McCartney was really on Deontay Johnson last week a lot.
Yeah, he was. But it's a process, as we've seen. So it's all good.
Autumn McCaddy. Hey, Deke and Moats, you heard the comments that Leo Collins made about TJ Watt.
Ooh.
Has Collins ever heard of bulletin board material? Hashtag 2023.
He's talking a little spicy. You know that's how it is, too. It's a rivalry game. We get it. And they won. So, yes, they're going to talk a little bit more. But, yeah. Don't worry. TJ's going to be licking his chops, man.
Yeah, that might have not been the best guy to do that.
Yeah. I'm like,
post that bulletin board material, have those comments. Yeah.
I might would have said that about high school. I'm not saying that about TJ, man. TJ Stamp. You know who he is. So you know you're going to see him again. That's the other part of this thing, man.
Is this Q?
Yes.
Respectfully, Steelers got to replace the whole left side of the O-line, and they got to stop cheaping out on corner because they've been awful consistently.
How'd you feel about your boy Dotson, man?
Dotson yesterday? I didn't get that close of a look to him, but yeah, Dan Moore could have had a little bit of a better performance.
Yeah.
It goes back to all the questions that have been popping up about, like, what should we do in the draft or offseason. Yeah. I feel like cornerback one. Look, whatever it is, free agency or draft, I think that will be something to look at. And, yeah, at this point, something with a left tackle upgrade potentially, too, or at least some type of competition for Dan Moore.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan, it's unfortunate, man, because last year I thought that he was starting to take more and more steps to kind of locking down that position, whereas this year it does look like he regresses at times. Because I thought, to me personally, he would only struggle with just the speed rush, the super athletic guys. But Hendrickson yesterday, man, he was able to get out of his stance a couple of times and really have Dan Moore just in like a chasing position. And I'm like, Hendrickson is good, but he's not necessarily a beat you off the line, crazy, explosive get off like a Von Miller. You know what I mean? He's not a flamethrower. He's more of just a big body pass rusher that knows how to, he got nice moves. He knows how to work his hands and stuff like that. But he's not the type of just electric out your stance. Like, think how we look at Alex Highsmith sometimes with the spin where you're like, bro, that was so fast. Like, whoa. Like, that's not really his game. And to see him be able to beat Dan Moore with some speed stuff, it's like, whoa, man, you got to, like, either anticipate the snap count a little bit better like we see with Chooks at times, where you're still in that extra step. Try that. Maybe you need to try cutting an extra step back. We talk about some of those, hey, man, are you on the line of scrimmage? Are you not on the line of scrimmage? Like, maybe you need to go that route to just give you that extra half a second, that extra half a step, so that way it doesn't get to how it did look at times yesterday. But
I'm assuming you did get to see a more in-depth look at Dotson, because I'm getting some comments here. It wasn't his best performance either.
Yeah, Dotson's been on a little bit of a struggle this season, man. I'm not sure what it is.
I think I wore my Dotson jersey too yesterday.
Yeah, at times.
I think I did. It's either his jersey or 7. I can't remember.
At times he does look really good, but then there's other times where I'm just scratching my head and I'm like, I don't see Dotson get beat like this on a one-on-one, like. And yeah, I just don't understand what's going on with him right now.
It's disheartening.
Yes, it is, because I thought he would be a lot better in terms of consistency.
Oh, trust me, same. AJ Martinez, much love to the chat. I truly enjoy chatting it up.
There it is.
If I miss a comment to reply to, I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm desperately trying to crank out another paper due in an hour. Yikes, while I am helping out my pops with dinner.
Boy, your multitask game on 1,000, AJ.
He's always doing 10 different things.
Elite multitasking.
Jacob Alessio, which players on defense can we get back next year? Pretty much everyone if we wanted.
Well, it just depends on what we want to spend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Larry and Cam Sutton are the only.
Terrell Edmonds.
Oh, yeah, Edmonds still, yeah. Because obviously
Bush.
We're going to look to pay Highsmith early, but he would still take a back seat to that part of free agency. Because those would be the first guys up, so yeah.
I would like all those guys
corners?
back.
Who said Sutton? Kellum and Levi, yeah, they still got another year left on theirs.
William Jackson, that'll be a conversation with restructure and whatnot, probably.
Wouldn't Pierre too, right? I think this is last year on his, right?
I don't know. So he's undrafted. He's in this whole weird scenario now,
you're
right?
You're right. Yeah, so they'll tend to him, so we're good with that. So yeah.
Yeah, bring them all back. I guess Devin Bush could be a question of depending on how much he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he's looking for top dollar.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's worth it for the Steelers, but if maybe you could get him on just a deal that works for both sides, a prove-it deal, kind of like $5 million.
Right. Or even if it was something where, like, how the Deontay Johnson situation worked out, where they kind of found that common ground for whatever the ask was to what they were comfortable with. Maybe it's a shorter type deal, but, yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Next we got... Oh, I might have skipped... who was that?
No, you were good. That was Jacob Alessia.
Scott Forador. Yeah. I want less cute runs. Give me the gritty ones.
Fair enough.
I feel like we were running up the middle. Or is he specifically talking about Najee jumping over the guy for the touchdown? I feel like we were just running up the middle a lot.
And we were actually using some of the Derek Watt situation more. I still like that, man. When we bring him out there, granted it does bring more attention, but we have just a more physical feel to our offense, a more physical feel to our rushing attack. And I do think that helps us at times.
Okay, who are we?
Should be Russell.
Yeah. We are a very young team on offense, but our O-line, especially the left side, is weak and definitely needs to be better. And definitely need a better OC.
No, fair enough, man. Fair. Absolutely.
Chris, is William Jackson playing this season? Because my back hurts. I'm still going to work. LOL.
He will have a chance to return, right? They put him on IR, so that was the first game, so he got, 3 weeks left? Yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't last week the first week?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so 2 games left. Hopefully.
We got the Colts next week.
Yeah.
Who's after them? Is it Falcons or Panthers?
Yeah, I think, is it what? Colts, Panthers, Falcons? I think that's what it is. I don't know. I was guessing.
I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I just know we got Colts next week. I'm going week by week, game by game.
Yeah, it is.
AJ Martinez, food for thought. Higher levels of function reactivated of moral postures. Let's go Steelers. God bless Moats and Deke. Love all of you in the chat as well. Class time, part 2. Peace out. Trainer number 1.
I feel like the higher levels of function, reaction, or moral postures, or reactivation of moral postures. I feel like that's probably something from his class, man. That seemed real literary right there, man. Yeah.
Dog in him. Per 36 has joined the upper room.
Dog in him. Per 36. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Next, Xavier Cunningham. Thoughts on a different live game angle on TV? Maybe that's what his initial question was about. Should we get a different angle?
Amazon, they do it on some of the Thursday night games. You can
do
like the all 22 look or the like super sky joint. So
they're getting there.
Yeah.
If Amazon's doing it, I'm sure there's going to be some. Because now they got NFL Plus, so you could watch all the in-game
angles.
Well, not even that. You're getting
just the amount of like the streams and stuff.
You're at least getting on NFL Plus. You're getting whatever game would be in market on CBS and Fox that you could watch. Yeah. So I'm sure they're gonna add to that as time goes on too. If they see it's a positive for Amazon, they're in kind of conjunction with them. So I'm sure they'll figure something.
I know Amazon, it's an option, so you can watch either style. I think if it's an option, yes. If they made it like the whole game has to be like that, I don't know if people are going to respond to that because not everybody likes those type of different angles. Some people are just like, hey, give me the basic stuff. I don't need all this super high level or X's and O's to that type of level. They just wanted to be on a casual basis. So as long as there's some type of alternative, some type of option, I think it'll definitely click.
Richard Hunt, thoughts on Big Ben working with Kenny next season?
Uh-oh, how you feel?
What's that saying? Iron sharpens iron. Pittsburgh greatness sharpens Pittsburgh greatness. Go for it. I'm not opposed. Ryan McPherson, do you have any thoughts?
If the energy is right, I'm all for it. But the energy has to be right.
Ryan McPherson, these fake fans and KP8 haters can go whine with Stephen A. Smith, an alleged Steeler fan. We need people in Steeler Nation to be more positive like y'all. Moats and Deke.
Nah, salute you, man. I just kind of look at it like that, man. You could be negative, but what are you getting out of that negativity? Or you could be positive, and what you're going to get out of that? And that's kind of how I look at it. If I'm trying to get somebody to respond, whether it's my wife, whether it's my children, whether it's my dogs, do you think they're going to respond if I'm only speaking negative or if I'm only highlighting every negative that they have? No. That's not going to have them wanting to play better or be better people or even, work with me or be with me. But when you focus on the positive and you're uplifting and you're figuring out, hey, these are the things that you're doing well. Let's get more of this. How can we get more of this? Let's focus on that versus, oh, look, he did it again. Oh, look, man, they caught another jet sweep again. Oh, man, look, he missed his throw again. Oh, man, look at this third down again. It's like, man, what are you trying to accomplish right here? You just negative for the sake of being negative. So that's why I operate the way that I do. And Deke, I just think Deke got good energy. That's why I like rocking with him, man.
Thanks. Like, we are bringing up some of the stuff we didn't like yesterday. It's just that there was a lot to like.
Absolutely. Context matters, man.
It just sucks that we lost.
Yeah.
I feel like we let one get away.
For a fact.
You're right in terms of the context, too, because if this offense was together like this for a good 2 years, then maybe it's a different story. Maybe we're like saying, hey, some of this stuff wasn't acceptable. But considering where our offense has been up to this point, and we have a rookie quarterback and everyone's young, it's like, oh, wow, we saw a lot of improvement. This is a really good sign going forward. Let's just clean up some more of the mistakes, which literally Pickett has been doing every game. Every game. We didn't see his whole back hitch and then run outside whenever the pocket was collapsing on him. No, he stepped up in the pocket and then would get outside the pocket, find someone open downfield. Like, those are great signs.
Yep. And 2 weeks consecutive now of no turnovers as well. Something that people criticized, even if it wasn't always on him, that was still a critique. And it's like,
put it in harm's way.
He's not doing that all. He's not doing that either. So, once again, we are seeing the things that we want to see.
Yeah. Okay, we got... Is this Gorilla Mode?
Yeah.
Second quarter was the best our offense has looked in 3 years. Many explosive plays still being left out there, and our scheme has exciting potential.
See how Deke feel about the 3 years comment.
I'll look back to some of those game-winning drives last year. Vikings game.
When he said 3, I said, "Ooh, I don't know how Deke gonna feel about
on.
this 3 years. But I don't know how Deke gonna feel about this."
Don't disrespect that performance Ben put on against the Vikings last year.
That is funny, man.
That was an absolute warrior showcase he put on in the third and fourth quarter.
Hey, Gorilla Mode, I just like your name because I like to bump Glorilla. And yeah, me and my little lady KK, man, we be driving and doing all stuff. We just turn up every once in a while. So yeah, shout out to that. So shout out to your name, Gorilla Mode. And shout out to the driving video I just dropped too, man, with me and the Bugs out there getting it on. Because that song was in there. Well, it was, but it wasn't in there. So either way, salute you, Gorilla Mode. Yeah.
Ryan McPherson, this chat proves it's a civil war within Steeler Nation.
I could agree. I could definitely see the love for Kenny and the hate crowd for Kenny. We can also see we still have stuff to play for, build for, learn for this season versus we need to start working and get ready for next season draft and stuff like that. I get both angles of it. Yeah. And that's why we are here to acknowledge both sides, but
there are people that are right and wrong.
Thank you.
Whatever I'm saying, I'm right.
Oh, there it is. All right.
Season's still intact. All right, well, we dug ourselves a pretty bad hole, but no, the season's still here. We're still
we're
winning, building a culture.
We're 5.5 feet deep. We're not 6 feet just yet. We 5.5 though. I ain't even gonna lie to you, Deke. We 5.5 feet now, but we still got the shovel, and we still got a rope, and we're gonna see are we gonna climb up this rope. Oh, we're going to go ahead and dig this other half a little foot.
Either way, we're just not tanking.
Correct.
Whether or not we make the play, that's just not even a thought.
Yeah.
You play to win the game. Hiram Edwards said it best.
Thank you.
And then in terms of the Pickett polarity, we stick with Pickett.
Yeah, it is.
James J. Jeffers.
Yeah, I don't get the crowd that left yesterday's game, and it was we need to draft a quarterback. I did see that. I don't understand how they did Kenny miss some throws? Sure. Was Kenny perfect? No. But I don't leave out of yesterday's game feeling like we need a better quarterback. I personally, I just didn't feel like that.
I gave you the context for his stats and just what he did amongst the other quarterbacks in Week 11.
Yeah.
He was in like the top 10, top 12 for what he did.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, dude. You literally look around the league. How many times has the Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense gone 3 and out and just been absolutely lackluster?
Ooh, you're not allowed to talk about that.
Aaron Rodgers, lackluster.
You can't talk about that. Ooh.
And I think the people that think that Brady and Rodgers are done are idiots. So, like, it's just my point is, like,
go ahead,
I think we got a guy in Pickett, man. Like, he can play professional football. There's no reason. Like, every offense around the league, hell, even the Bengals, they had some bad drives. Burrow's just damn good, though. I mean, you can make up for some of those bad drives.
He's one of those handful of elite franchise caliber quarterbacks. When you have those guys, they are X factors. We had one of those guys for a while. We're going to see if Kenny could grow into the next version of that, but that's the difference.
Yeah, we needed some X factor on those weighty moments when our offense got the ball from the defense turnover. We had the short field.
Because that's what the X factor does.
We needed that.
The X factor says, hey, I got y'all. And not saying he can't develop into
But
that.
it wasn't even his fault on some of the times
Mm-hmm.
that we didn't score a touchdown on those drives or just get more points.
Or
it wasn't his
self-inflicted penalties.
Exactly.
Like,
penalties. Looked like there was that miscommunication on the one where Pickett went to hand it off, but Najee's
it was supposed to be a draw,
Yeah, then we got an eligible man down the field on that, too.
But the timing of everything is off 100%.
So, like, that's not on Pickett. It's not on Pickett.
Yeah.
James J. Jeffers. I want to see a fan grab a lid, bro.
You don't want to see that.
Pros versus Joes.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. Put him out there in that situation. Nah. And honestly, man, it is times where, as players, we want to respond like that. We obviously saw Deontay Johnson respond like that, right? You remember when he got upset and everybody was going at him and he said, man, if y'all think y'all can do it, y'all come on my here and do it. But then he came back and he retracted it, right? Because we understand that, no, not everybody can do this. There's the reason why we're the 1% that are able to do this and are fortunate enough to do this. But at the same time, as fans, y'all want us to be held accountable, and rightfully so. You guys are investing your emotion, your money, your time. So, yeah, you want consistency from the players. So that's why you hold them accountable. When you see them make a mistake, you're like, bro, you can make that. Anybody can make that catch. I see you make that catch 1,000 times and make the catch. Or we see this player over here and it's like, well, why can that player do it consistently, but this player can't? So I get it, man, and rightfully so. But, man, it is tough. It is very, very tough. It's not as easy as it looks at times.
Rod Dollar says Moats dressed like Wiz in 2009.
Shout out to
That's pretty good, actually.
Shout out to the homie. Let's go. No, he's not the homie. But, no, we support that movement over there. Obviously, Chevy is part of the culture. So we definitely, we part of that Taylor Gang element right there, man. Big love. And Fed. I forgot about Fed as well, man. That's all the little Taylor Gang situation. So, yeah, definitely like that.
Let's go, UW. Robinson needs time over Spillane.
Now that I'm thinking about it, man, I'm over here like, can we get some cushion orange juice? Oh, man. Hopefully we don't get in trouble for saying Kush. But I'm saying it again, Kush and orange juice. Nah, we won't need it right now. I mean, we need it right now. We don't need it right now. Yeah.
How about that one? Robinson needs time over Spillane.
Okay, Spillane had a rough game. All right. But are you going to put Robinson in the exact same situations that Robert Spillane is in when he's the only linebacker on the field? He's the beacon of communication, and he has to be the guy that isolates on a running back or a tight end. If you're willing to put him out there and think that he can do a better job, go for it. I personally think the mental element will put him in more harm than it will do him well for his athletic ability. That's why they play Spillane over Devin Bush in some of those situations. Devin Bush is a far better athlete than Robert Spillane, but they trust Robert Spillane a lot more because he's going to be in the right position. The problem is, athletically, he's not as talented, so that's why we say, hey, the one thing you will always do from Spillane is you might catch on him, but he's going to make the tap. He's going to be in position. He's not going to make the mistake. And yesterday, it was just him making the mistake of not having the finished tackles. And that's why we felt that way, and that's why we were pissed about it. But Spillane is a really good player. He's just not a great player. He's not a player that you want athlete versus athlete. But when you talk about everything else that he does, man, I can make a 20-minute cut up of what this dude brings to this defense and how he helps this defense on a consistent basis, game in and game out. Even when y'all be over here hollering, man, Spillane sucks. I'm over here on film like, bro, he made that play, and that play.
He's the reason we got that pick.
Okay, he made this play, and this play. Oh, and then he did this and this and this. So that's my whole thing. It's like, I love Robinson. Y'all know I'm a Robinson fan. But I don't think Robinson mentally is going to give me what Spillane can give me. And if he can't, he's only going to hurt me more than he's going to help me.
Yeah, the only way I see it making sense is if we're mathematically out of the playoffs.
That's fair. That's definitely fair, man.
Get someone like Mark Robinson.
That's definitely fair.
Because I wouldn't even consider that tanking. It's just more like, let's see what this dude can do.
And I think that's a different conversation. If that is what we're talking about, that's different. But if we're not to that phase, and I personally don't think we're there just yet, I'm not making that move just for the simple sake of let me see this dude. I'm going to do what I feel like is best to keep us competitive and help us win. So that's kind of like how I look at the Mark Robinson thing. Because trust me, I think if it's the offseason, man, heck yes, I want Mark to get full opportunity to be the guy. But to do that in season, all I'm saying is the same things we've been talking about with our rookies on offense and the inconsistencies, and those guys have been out there a lot more. Don't act like that's not the same scenario that you would be putting Mark Robinson in at an even more critical position on defense in the middle of that thing, man. So that's the other part of it.
Farron Bradford. Canada had KP looking like Zach Wilson in the second half.
Man, why y'all always put all of the negative plays on Matt Kennedy? We just show, we highlight some of the negative stuff that was happening team-wise, execution-wise, and we just like, nope, that's on Matt Kennedy. I know you saw the same pitch I saw, screenplay, all them blockers out front, and somehow, some way, we don't get anything. Is that on Matt Canada? Come on, man. No, that's not. It was called perfectly. It was schemed up perfectly. Sometimes your players, even if you really love those players, they got to make their plays. They got to actually block the guys they're supposed to block. They got to actually catch the ball when they get it thrown to, and they actually have to put the ball where it's supposed to be thrown as well. But Matt Canada, we do have to at least acknowledge some of the stuff that was going on from a positive perspective yesterday.
Mike Hood, peace to all. I'm licking my wounds today. He says, definitely a rebuilding year, and I'm very disappointed at the defense yesterday. Yeah. I think we took a step back on defense.
No, fair enough, man. Put it like this. I don't think we took a step back per se. I think we learned something about ourselves, though. I think we learned that we don't necessarily have an answer for a hot receiver. When a guy just gets going. We saw that A.J. Brown, right? We really didn't have an answer for that. It was more so they just stopped targeting him in the second half, and they kind of took the foot off the pedal. The Eagles I'm talking about.
What do you mean? Pierre Island was locking him up.
Stop it. All right.
Terrell Evans.
Yeah.
They tried it again on him.
Like I said, do you feel like in that second half, we know it wasn't in the fourth quarter because they didn't even play in the fourth quarter. Do you feel like they were really out there trying to just go after that thing like that? They went at it twice and was like, you know what, check it. All right, cool. We ain't coming back till we good on it. But they definitely was kind of chilling on it. That's all I'm saying. Whereas yesterday we saw where a team that didn't chill because the flow of the game, what it could look like. And yeah, when you pair really good receiver, I don't want to call T. Higgins a great receiver just yet because he's not great just yet. He's really good. But really good quarterback, really good receiver with that fringe elite top 5 level quarterback in Joe Burrow, you have a nice situation. And that is what we were witnessing at times yesterday. I'm sure that's how Bengals fans have felt watching us when we had AB and Ben. I'm sure they felt the same way. Man, I wish we had a good corner. Man, your corner don't suck. AB just great. Your corner don't suck. Ben just great, you know? And at times when you're watching Joe Burrow cook the way that he's cooking, it's like, man, you don't suck. This dude just putting the ball in a position where T. Higgins is going to go up there and get it, and there is zero that you can do, even though you are in perfect position.
Sean McCartney. At Big Little Noriega, talking the most, calling people who like Kenny fake fans and clowns. Put it in the super chat for all of us to
see. He said, I'm going to call you out. Bro, the Civil War is very unique right now. It's very unique.
Join my side. You're on the right side.
I just walk in truth. I don't want to be on anybody's side.
Farron Bradford. Moats, why didn't we sprinkle in RPOs or some quick passes to neutralize the rush?
We did have RPO, man. We saw 2 of them. Not necessarily RPO, but it was more the
read option.
Yeah, read option.
Kenny.
We picked up a first down on it, man. We did sprinkle it in. Wasn't a lot of it. It was a handful. That is technically a sprinkle. So we did do some of that. The problem was we didn't do enough of it in the second half. And that goes back to the adjustments part from Matt Canada that I was talking about, where just schematically, alignment wise, he could have done some stuff to offset the rush. I do feel like Jaylen Warren being hurt in the second half also took away some of the stuff that he likes to do in the sense of just fast releasing that running back. He likes to do that with Jaylen Warren a lot more than Najee. I think because Jaylen Warren is just a more explosive player when you're talking about that type of just beat a guy to the flat, catch the ball, and just go to work, he wins a lot faster, whereas Najee is more so, all right, he's going to catch it, then you got to get north and south, then you're going to try to run over you or jump over you, right? I think when Jaylen went out, that kind of limited that thought process. So I do think that was also a part of, why we didn't get more of it. But we technically did get some of those sprinkles in, though.
Farron Bradford. 22 should have gotten more of the workload in the second half. Yeah, I'm glad he brought that up.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Absolutely.
Like we just disappeared on our run game. And then when we did, it was just like a 1-yard run up the middle on like a 2nd and 10. Our offense should be built around 2-2 and not 8 until 8 can take that next step.
Yeah, so the thing is this, man. With the lack of run plays or why it seems like we went away from it, a couple of reasons. Number one, even though we were still trying to run the ball at times in the third quarter, we weren't having a lot of success when we would first try to hand that thing off. you would still see some shorter gains, some 2-yard gains, some 3-yard gains. And this was also while the Bengals were starting to do what offensively. We were feeling that T. Higgins energy, right? We were feeling them move the ball. And then obviously they started to score points. I do personally think that for Matt Canada, it was kind of that debate, that dilemma of, and we talk about this at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you feel like a team is scoring, do you feel like you can still maintain balance and run the ball, or do you think it's going to get away from you and you have to play catch up? And watching it at times in that third quarter and early in that fourth quarter, I just felt like he was going through that dilemma of, can I really commit back to running the ball like I did in the first half where we were controlling the game or even had the lead, versus now in the second half that Cincinnati is started to open it up a little bit more. Joe Burrow starting to heat up a little bit more. We really started to feel T. Higgins a lot more in that second half. Now it's like, man, we can't just sit here and hand the ball off to Najee. We got to try to stretch the field. And some of it was good plays. You think about the throw that he hit George Pickens, man, that was a good throw and catch on the right-hand side, man. Good play.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, we never had an answer off of that. We get the short field, the turnover, and we never get any. We get a field goal off of that. It just wasn't enough finishing these drives. So to me, I think that he partly felt like, man, we can't just sit here and run the ball. We do have to open this up a little bit more. We do have to be a little bit more explosive to keep up. And he did call some good stuff as well. It just wasn't executed to the way that it needed to be executed. And that was, the theme of this offense as a whole in the second half.
Van Bradford. KP trying to develop with an OC who is also trying to develop.
That's accurate, yes.
Fans need to understand that Canada don't have enough NFL wisdom to give Kenny.
That is very accurate. Canada's in his second season as a NFL offensive coordinator. We put an expectation on him like he's supposed to come here and be Todd Haley. It's like, no, he's not even Randy Fichtner in the sense of just doing it at this level. He's learning. So, yes, we are going to hold him to a standard, and everybody's going to have a different expectation or a different standard in which they're going to hold him to, but that's why you see what you see and why you have different levels of productivity with the results. But that's also why when you're talking about why Coach Tomlin might believe in this dude, because to him, he might be saying, I'm building with Canada and Kenny. They're learning together. They're developing together. And I think this is something that could be built long term because of some of the stuff that we've highlighted from a positive perspective. Or he could have the mentality that, hey, I'm going to hit the hard reset button this offseason, and even though I'm going to bring in a new coordinator, we'll see if Kenny fits with it or not. That's the other alternative. Or maybe he'll say, hey, we're going to go and find a coordinator specifically for Kenny. But we know what that could look like as well, because we've seen when we've hired specifically for Ben versus we're hiring specifically for a scheme versus when we're hiring to see, hey, can this guy get the job done? It's just different ways that we can go about it. So, yes, it's a lot that goes with the whole Matt Canada dynamic and keeping him or not keeping him, but it's also a lot of context in terms of the thought process from the organization about him, man. And
Sure.
it really is based on how you view or what your expectation is for him and for Kenny and for this season and the next season as well.
Buddha Blaze. Positivity is one thing. Objectivity is another.
Mm-hmm.
This team is not consistently executing. Will they compete? Yes. If they make the playoffs, how far can they go with the AFC landscape? Who cares? You just want to keep winning.
That's how I look at it, man.
And I think we're doing enough to show that we can compete with good teams. Like, Bengals are a good team. We could have won that game. And to his point, like, we aren't executing perfectly right now, but we are consistently getting better week in and week out. Or at least what I'm thinking on offense. And going back to the one commenter's point a couple comments ago saying the defense took a step back. Yeah, I think they did. That's why I was really disappointed in the defense. Because I thought it was going to be defense was going to be our steady force, especially with TJ getting back. We could be a top 5 defense. They're going to keep us in these games.
Yeah.
As long as the offense continues to improve, we can win out or just have like a loss or two and go on a little bit of a run maybe.
And it didn't happen yesterday. Does that mean it can never happen with this group? No. Does that mean it will never happen again that we could develop into that? No, that's not saying that either. But we treat this one loss as if that is confirmation, nailed in the casket. We have failed. It's like, no, that's not how it works, man. It's one game. No different if you would have won yesterday. It's one game. That's why we talk about it being week to week. That's why we talk about you can't just be super hyper reactive or no. Fans can be reactive. Excuse me for that. That's why we say organizationally and the players and the guys that are doing this on a professional level and living it, we are not reactional like that because we understand this type of context. It's not for everybody, though. Some people, man, they just live in the emotion. They don't care about the context. And that's fine. It really is. But when you're just making change after change for the sake of making change after change, that is not how you grow. That is not how you develop. That's how you stunt your growth. That's how you become these other franchises that we talk about. And that's why you also heard the Pittsburgh Steelers this all season, right? The first year they were going to replace their quarterback. What did they say? We do things our way. We're not worried about keeping up with the Joneses because their way is a proven method. You talk about sustained dominance, sustained winning, sustained excellence. This franchise under Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin right now have proven that their method works. Not what you might be feeling today because it's the first time you're experiencing 3-7 under Coach Tomlin and you're losing your mind. Nah, they're not worried about that because they have a proven track record. They have a proven system, a proven method that we have minimized by saying, hey, no losing seasons. Get out of here. But that is also a proven method. So if this means that this is the first year that method might need to be tweaked, that doesn't mean you blow up the whole organization. That doesn't mean that you make mass changes or you forget your philosophy and now you become a week to week, we make changes type of person. No, because that's never been who this team has been. This team has operated with what? We're going to go through the draft, right? Oh, okay, now we're going to start building a little bit through free agency. We'll splash a little bit. We'll evolve a little bit. We're still going to operate the way that we operate, though. We don't fire coordinators. We don't fire coaches. We're not doing a ton of this just, oh, man, hot take, reaction, knee-jerk. We don't do that because we don't have to, because our track record has proven that. And it's one of them things that I do think if we could just take that step back to see that and remember that, it would help us in this process.
Mike Hood, I miss the days of we're going to run the ball. You know we're going to run it, and you got to stop me.
No, facts, man. And that's some teams that they still do that. Tennessee is one of them. We're figuring out our identity a little bit more. I thought yesterday was, especially that first half, man, that was probably the best I felt about our identity in the sense of that balance. We were playing through Najee, but we were still very explosive through the air as well. That's what this offense is capable of. That's what this offense can look like when it is clicking on all cylinders. So don't tell us Matt Canada is incapable. Don't tell us Kenny Pickett is incapable. Don't tell us this offensive line is incapable, because we saw it yesterday in that first half. We saw all of those things. We saw a competent play caller. We saw execution. We saw all of the things that we're clamoring about, hollering about, saying why guys need to be fired and we need to draft this guy. So when you're already seeing these things, you don't get more of that by firing and blowing it up and hitting the reset. No. You lean into it even more. You give these guys more opportunities, more reps, because that's how you get them to keep growing to get to that point that we want them to be. But they're already showing the same things that we're hollering about. They're showing them, man. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Blue boy, how are we fake fans? Because we don't trust 8. What about the fans who didn't believe in 5-5 when he did his thing as a rookie, but got hurt? He showed a lot of flash. What about the fans who hate Canada? Are they fake too? He has flashes. I think you're looking into it too deep.
I look at it like this, man. When you're trying to point and, circle a guy and say that, hey, you're fake because of this or is that, that goes back to the narrative conversations. I'm not a narrative dude, bro. Never have been. So maybe Deke can respond to the fake fans, man.
I just don't think it's that deep.
I don't do the fake fan thing. Not calling you a fake fan, but I'm saying, like, I don't do the label of fake and all that. It's like, yeah, I'm good. But it's all love either way.
I mean, what he's saying is that's why I'm saying it's
People
not that deep.
Reactionary.
No. Here's the huge, like, macro level analysis of the whole fake fan thing. No one thinks that they're the fake fan.
No.
Everyone thinks that their takes are the realest.
Absolutely.
But legitimately, though, if you were against Big Ben or was flip-flopping on Big Ben, yes, you are a fake fan. Legitimately, though. 100%.
But let's be real. If we get to the root of the fake fan.
And honestly, and if you're flipping on Pickett, it's fake. You got to believe in him. But you got to see the good things he's doing. He could be our guy.
It is, you can't take fake fan, the comment itself, as gospel, as like this heart to heart, because
I'm getting called a fake fan. I'm the realest they're out.
Deke,
I just brushed those comments off.
I'm just laughing because I think of how fake fans started. It started off with what? Fake news, right? And it was because certain things that were being said from a political standpoint, we'd be like, bro, what? Some people will believe it, some people wouldn't. And that's how they would identify. Oh, you're fake if you don't believe it, and you're with this, and you're real if you do believe it. We just carried it over to the football element of it. But yeah, it ain't nothing to take, to heart. Because to me, I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, like what are we talking about?
You're literally
here?
just like, bro, that's like if Deke says, Moats, you ugly. All right, cool. That's your opinion, man. I don't believe that.
Like I said,
I don't think it's you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're a fake fan. You don't believe it, you're fake. Man, that's your opinion. I don't care about that. Good for you, man. Yeah. So don't take that to heart, Lubo. You just gotta let your fandom be your fandom. You cheer for who you want to cheer for. All right. And if you don't want to cheer for a guy, you don't cheer for a guy. That's how you need to do it, baby.
Well, there are right answers to this. I already told you. There are right answers. If you want to be a real fan or a fake fan.
Deke said, follow his lead. If you don't follow his lead, you're a fake fan.
Fran Bradford.
I've been called a fake fan. I've been called a fake fan, a fake Ben supporter, a Ben hater. I've been called a Kenny hater, a Kenny supporter. I've been called a Matt Canada hater and a Matt Canada supporter. I've been called everything, man. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, Lubo, from experience, man, just be you, because you're not going to please everybody. I can assure you, even when you feel like it's gospel, when you got facts to back it up and everything, and you can highlight it, and sometimes you even do film sessions to break it down, they still going to call you fake or a hater. Or whatever. You just got to know who you are, baby. So, Lubo, ignore anybody that's saying something to make you feel some type of way, man. You just be you.
Okay. Farron Bradford. Canada should really try being on the sideline just to see. The head coach that our play callers do it all the time. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pros and cons to both of them. When you're down on the field level, you can feel the energy, you can feel momentum better, you can feel guys being tired, you can feel tempo and stuff like that a little bit better, but you're limited vantage point wise. When you're up in the booth, man, in terms of calling calls, even me when I do color commentary, I love being up high because it is so easy to see, read, and call, but you got to have the feel for it. If you have a feel for it, man, put me in the booth all day because I can see it and I have the all 22 version. I'm calling it right now. Okay, that's what you need to go with that ball. This is what we need to do right here. That's how you get it right here. But you got to have that feel for it. Man, Kennedy's getting the feel. And everybody is different, man. Some guys, they want to be down on the sideline and give you that energy, that emotion. And they coach more from the emotion side. Whereas other guys, they want to be up top so they can just see it and say, hey, you know what, man? Let's just X and O this thing to death, man. And think more of like chess versus front line of a battle. Like when you're on the sideline, man, it's like the front line of a battlefield. Not to talk to anybody that has been on the battlefield. I don't want to minimize what y'all are doing, but just in the sense of like the action is real raw, it's real physical, but the schematic part of it, you're not seeing that as much because you're so tight, you're so in this thing. Whereas when you're, up in the booth, it's more like chess. It's like, man, we just bird eye view. I'm gonna put that there. Are you going there? Oh, they're gonna go back. All right, we're gonna go with this right here. It's a little bit more just up here versus like it's on the silence, more of like that. Yo, let's get this emotion. Let's go.
Sean McCartney, you can hate who you want, but be ready for someone to disagree with you. Yeah. Those who call others fake fans for their opinions are toxic for the culture. I'm not toxic. I breathe life into this culture. Calling out the fake fans. I'm trying to get those toxic fake fans out of here.
See, I don't want to kick anybody. I want everybody to love everybody. I'm kumbaya. Actually, I'm not kumbaya. I'm just kumbaya internally. Y'all chaotic, but I love it, though.
Jay Will, sensitive fan.
Ooh.
Who's he calling out?
Yo, they got a name for everybody.
That's a good one.
So y'all boys being real sensitive. But you know what? Sometimes sensitivity is real, but it's okay to be sensitive. It is. I think we are caught up on the supers. Mm-hmm. But you know what we are not caught up on? Paying a bill.
Okay.
Totally did not pay a bill today. So can we pay a bill? Actually,
Go for it.
I'm thirsty. Is there any other craziness going on in the chat, man? I love when we get... Bro, I don't know what I'm looking at right now. I just saw a bicycle and something that didn't look like a bicycle anymore on your page. I don't know what that was. I don't know what you're doing, Deke. I don't know what you're doing, man.
And people are saying Moats a fake Bills fan. I disagree.
I am a lot of things.
I don't think he's a fake Bills fan.
I'm a lot of things, Deke. Deke, I'm a lot of things, bro. I'm a lot of things. Yeah, don't think I'm that. No. I'm a lot.
That
of
was
things.
dogging him too. He just
I
joined.
To say,
He just joined the upper end.
I'm a lot of them, but oh man. Y'all know. I love to. I got a heart in two places. It is what it is. I've told y'all my situation is very different, and I get to use that, and I will forever use that. Okay, but yes, Buffalo is always gonna have a place in my heart, man. They were the ones when I answered that phone. It wasn't Kevin Colbert. It wasn't Mike Tomlin. It wasn't Mr. Rooney. It was good old Buddy Nix. Oh, baby, best day of my life. At that time, yes. I mean, it's one of the memorable moments, man. It was like, getting your life's work to come together at one point. So, yeah. But then we got lightning in the bottle twice. Coach Tomlin was finally on the other end of the phone call one of them times, so it did work out. It did. And that's why I do what we do here, because it's love. You know that.
100%.
But yes.
Well, hey, Jacob Glenn brings up a good point. The Pigeons weren't out there, huh?
No, they weren't. They weren't. Yeah.
They were there for the Pitt game.
Yeah, we were having a conversation about it, actually. They were saying that because of it being darker, they don't show up at night. Yeah, that's what they were saying. Because, bro, the same section, in the championship with, I forgot the dude's name. Dude always sit in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we was talking about, he was like, yo, man, it's part of that, though. And we were like, dang, going now. He could have just been, in the moment. And I could have been in the moment, too, because, on game day, it's a lot that goes on in terms of how we hydrate and how we
pigeons weren't there though.
But the pigeons were not there. I didn't see the pigeons, and I wasn't in the Matrix all the way at that point either. So yeah, I didn't see the pigeons.
Disappointing.
Yeah, we need the pigeons, bro. It's that simple, man. Somebody has to be responsible for the pigeons being there. I get it; it was a later game, but yeah, we need to figure that out. Mm-hmm. Don't we got the aviary? Aviary, can y'all store some pigeons that we just bring out for game day, even if it's a night game? Can we do that? Is that possible? We do have the aviary, right? That is right around. We got the aviary. Yeah. We got birds right in there. So we can just bring them out there. Just store them there and be like, hey, when it's game day, y'all come out here. We're going to feed y'all real nice. Have one of them people with the glove on.
That's what I'm thinking. They like whatever seed is on the turf.
Absolutely.
Why can't we get them some, other seed where it's, specifically meant for them to be eaten?
Bird seed.
Actual bird seed, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we get it some for dessert, especially on the night games.
Pigeon seed.
What I mean?
Pigeon seed. We don't need birds. We need pigeons because we don't want an eagle coming down or a hawk. We need a pigeon. We need pigeon seed.
Good call.
Who's a pigeon? Isn't it Mike Tyson? That's his thing, right? He do that pigeon clapping stuff where, get him. Yeah. Something like that.
All right, we paying this bill then?
Yes. Yeah, it has going on this rant about pigeons now, man. Hey, I almost lost my focus. Almost lost my train of thought. All righty. Oh, man. Yeah, we definitely going to get it today. Whoops. There's a logo that is up there on the screen. You see it as DraftKings. It's as beautiful. It's as nice. And we like them a lot. Okay? And they like you a lot. Because they are the top rated sports booking app in the U.S. The way that we like to work. And on top of that, they are safe, they are secure, and they are reliable, Deke. There is nothing better when you hit on that parlay, the same game parlay too. Or, when you just have that one-off, you just feel good about this prop bet. You're like, man, I think that my dog gonna throw a tighty today. Sometimes it just is like that, and DraftKings give you those opportunities. But more importantly, they give you a promo code, and that promo code is Moats. You use that when you make that first deposit of $5. You're going to get a smooth $200 in DraftKings deposit money. And that is a great situation because you get to use that money to go out there and potentially make more money. It's a good situation. It's like a win-win. You catch my drift?
100%.
But, Deke, I also know at times some people go past 100% and they're not able to turn that switch off. Stays on for too long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when those people go through those experiences, sometimes you have to ask yourself if you or someone you may know has a gambling problem. They might need some crisis counseling. Shoot, Deke, they might even need referral services. Now, if they're living in New York, on the screen right now, there is a certain number that they could call or text. For my New Yorkers, New York, New York. But for everybody else, the number that you need to call is 1-800-GAMBLER. I said a 1-800-GAMBLER. I said you better Whoa, 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 100. Go, 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 Gamba. La, 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 la. Gambler, gambler. Go, 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 now I'm back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Kurt Von A. Mm-hmm. Thought he heard Frank Sinatra there.
Oh, appreciate that, man. Definitely appreciate that. You know, that was, I felt pretty good on that one. Yeah, felt pretty good. That was a good ad read, is what they like to call those.
Leah Warren, not me running to turn my sound down.
Oh, hey now. I like that. You know, I was showing the range with the pipes right there. You heard the range? I gave octaves. I was like Luther. La 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 la. Oh.
You says man's the new age Marvin Gaye.
There it is. You heard? That's the high note. You know what I'm saying? Father, father. You know what I'm saying? I went right there, man. Mm-hmm.
TJ's twat says just joined.
Time out. Who? Bro, what?
That's someone's username.
What is going on? Why would that be somebody's name, bro? What are we doing? Y'all got to do better, man.
I guess this is his first time tuning in.
Oh, my God.
And that was his experience, though.
Oh, my.
He got the gambler song right away.
Well, salute you, baby. Salute you.
I'm trying to see some other good comments
digging
here.
it, bro. It was digging my
Calculated
stuff,
Snipe says not an AirPods fan right now.
Fair enough. Because sometimes the AirPod is going to minimize my vocal capabilities. Unless you're going with the spatial audio. You know, sometimes you need to have it on the loudspeaker. Play it over the PA. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I could definitely get behind that feeling. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, I mean, we recapped this pretty damn good.
Ramel Edwards says, Moats' voice can stop wars. That is the most nice and kindest thing I've ever heard. I greatly appreciate that right there. My mom used to tell me I had the voice of a dove.
Okay.
That was shot. But it was all good. Yeah.
So what do we got here then? We recapped this pretty good.
No, this was dope. So this is what we're going to do. Bump it. I fell for. I want to do it today. You want to do it today? Let's do it today. I'm down to do it if you want to do it.
What's up?
You got 10 on it? Got a smooth 10, 15? We can go?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do it then, man. So what we are going to do. So last week, we had the pre-recorded phone calls, right? This week, let's open up the phone lines for the regular live phone calls to get your reactions to yesterday's game. How about we do that? If y'all want the phone lines open, how about you drop it in the chat? If you want the phone lines open, hit us in the chat. If you don't want the phone lines open, don't hit us in the chat. I might even throw the poll in to ask him. I ain't want Deke to get all, skittish on us. And sometimes the poll make him get sweaty. Yeah. It's all right. It's normal. Everybody
I just think putting a survey up there is just going to waste more time.
Fair enough, man. So we'll
think about it.
Want me to keep my poll to myself? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough, then. Fair enough. So, yeah, man, they got. We're going to see. We're going to see.
Q is at work. He said he would call.
Okay. We're going to find out, baby.
Open like George Pickens. Calculated Snipe is saying yes. Go for it. Open up the lines.
Okay. We see the homie Steve Brooks
Rod Dollars saying open the lines up.
All right.
Derek Clark, open them up. Yeah.
All right. We look like we got enough. Open them up.
We at least got 3 or 4 people that said they would call.
So I'm going to drop the number ahead of time before we even open them up, so that way they already fired up, ready to go. Sound good?
Works for me.
All right. So phone lines are about to be open in a second, but this is the phone number to dial: 412-346-6955. Once again, 412-346-6955. So you go ahead and get those phone lines squared away. I'm going to go ahead and tap in over here. And we're going to have some conversations today, man, for the culture. Oh, yeah.
Let's see who the real ones are, the fake ones.
We're going to find out today. Who going to hit us up on the hotline, player? Who going to hit us up on the hotline today? Got a phone call. Talk to us. Who we on the hotline with, baby? Hello.
How's it going, Deke and Moats? It's Jay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's Jerry Ramos here speaking.
Jerry Ramos, what is up, baby? How you living today, man?
I'm living good. I'm good. Life is good.
Good.
Disappointed and a little depressed about yesterday's loss, to be honest.
Yeah. What were some of your takeaways from it, man? Something that you liked and something that you didn't like about it?
I have a lot of takeaways, actually. First and foremost, first half offense, I was loving it. I was loving just like the execution on plays. I was loving the Najee running to the outside, just really clicking on all cylinders on offense in the first half. Just, I don't know what it is. It seems so frustrating sometimes. I was expecting a much better effort from the defensive side, especially having everybody healthy since that week 1 victory against the Bengals.
Yeah.
It's almost like this team plays better when when Minka is not there, right? Or like when there's adversity and when everybody's there, like they're just flat. And this team's just like super toxic, and sometimes I hate it, but you know I ride on my Steelers. And
it is.
Yeah. I was looking at the ESPN playoff machine predictor on Google yesterday, and just looking to see what scenarios to see if we could still make the playoffs.
How'd you feel about it?
Technically could still make the playoffs. We technically could still make the playoffs, even with the 9-8 record, but preferably I must go 10-7. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's the NFL. Anything could happen. Yeah, we're gonna need some help. We're gonna need to get some victories here. But other than that, the second half, I was just disgusted by the offense. I was more so disappointed after the TJ Watt interception.
Yeah,
the fact that we only come away with 3 points, that can't happen. Like that pissed me off. And then that one drive that killed us was when after we had a Najee first down run. We started going backwards after that. Like we had a flag, a whole flag here and there, and then just some other penalty. I forgot what it was. A lot of
self-inflicted stuff on that drive. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably one of the biggest drives that changed the whole game. That's probably like the drive that did it for us. We're like, man, it ain't going to be it. We ain't going to pull it off. Because if we were going to win that game, that had to be the drive where we
to keep in context, to keep it close.
Happen.
Yeah. Nah, respect.
But it just didn't happen. And lastly, before I go, the one thing that pissed me off is you let the dude named Samaje Perine get 3 receiving touchdowns against us. It's like, how's that? I was disgusted. I had a bunch of family members just hitting my time on Twitter.
The name is Samaje Perine. I just can't believe that name.
Right, not even running.
Yeah.
3 receiving.
Receiving was Bengals running back touchdown receiving record. I say,
not even Joe Mixon.
God, what is going on, man? I definitely feel what you're saying, man. I definitely feel what you're saying.
Really, but like as you guys were saying the whole podcast, it's just the only word I could use is just disappointed. I'm just very disappointed. I expected better this week. I was really excited. Honestly, I feel like whenever my expectations are low, we win the game. But when they're so high, we lose the game. So from now on, I'm just going to keep my expectations low and just go into the game with a negative mindset and just do that reverse psychology and win that type of stuff. That's how it works.
No, but Jerry, man, we definitely appreciate you hitting us up too, man. From the heart, baby. From the heart. But dude, no, that was dope right there, man. I could understand where he was coming from. I could definitely understand where he was coming from right there, baby. Yeah.
Disappointed, yeah.
Very disappointed, man. You could hear the pain in his voice. You definitely could. All right. Phone lines are open, baby. They are open. Hit us on the hip, baby. Uh-oh, got another one coming on in. Talk to me. Who we on the hotline with, baby?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Calculated Snipe.
There it is. Calculated Snipe. How we living on your end?
Oh, we doing good, guys. How are y'all guys doing? We're just down here in San Antonio enjoying the Steeler-like rain and the cold.
Hey, now. I like
but
it.
I just wanted to take it like this, man, because there's so many negative things we could talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm just pumped, dude. Kenny's not throwing interceptions.
No, facts.
We got 30 points per game.
Facts.
You know, there are some things we could work on, and that's just built with time. And just building rapport with tight ends, wide receivers, the timing, what you expect the guys to do. That's all I'm waiting for. So I'm good on it. I'm waiting. I just can't wait to see what they do next year.
Okay. Now I like the optimism. So optimism both in the short and in the long term. Shout out to you, Calculated Snipe. Let's go. Hey,
Yeah, man.
you had me?
I just want to say what's up to everyone in Steeler Nation. Let's stay positive. You know, I feel like if you don't look at it as a bad thing, man. If you guys think the season's over, cool. But we're still going to ride. We're still going to be here. I'm still going to watch the game. And when you get a chance, like right now, you can experiment all you want, in my opinion, man.
Yeah.
Let's just get on track and keep winning. We got to just win.
I like it. Shout out to you, Calculated Snipe. We definitely appreciate the support as well. I like it.
Thanks, bro.
Man, that was dope right there, man. Shout out to Calculated Snipe and the different approach. He went with more of the, I'm going to be super positive, and I'm only going to focus on that part of it, both in the short term and the long term. I like it. All right, let's see who we got. Oh, 619 tuning in. Talk to me, baby. Who we on the hotline with?
What's up? Barilla 92.
Barilla 92
What's the word?
For the culture. How are you doing, man?
Good. Just a resident fake fan calling in.
Love it, man. You know it's all love over here. But how you feeling about yesterday's performance, man? What's your energy, man?
First half, great. Second half, that was rough.
Do you still believe this team is capable with this core? Do they need to blow it up, build it up, and start over, man? How you feeling about that?
The core is good, but the core is young.
Okay.
So I think we got a stud in Pickens. Deontay, I mean, they say he gets open a lot.
He said they say he gets open a lot.
That's what they say. I read a lot of articles. They're saying he's open all the time, but
Barilla 92. I love how you said that right there. I just love that. They say he get open. That's what they say.
Najee, he's looking more like himself. He's trending back in the right direction. I think we got our backup in Warren. I feel good about the right side of the line. Mason Cole has surprised me. Left side, that could use some work.
Yeah.
But Kenny's a rookie, so I'm not going to write him off. He's a rookie. He's got time to grow, time to learn. And then he's like somebody said in a super chat, he's learning with the coordinator that is also learning.
No, facts. Development with development. Yes. And it's not always the easiest to stomach, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's growing pains. Growing pains. But defense, I feel like we got a good core there. We got our safety. We got TJ, Cam Hayward. He's still fighting off Father Time, but we need to get him another Robin.
Yeah.
I like Leal, but we need those big guys up front. It's one in the trenches. But I'm liking Miles Jack, but I think after this we have one more year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been balling though, man. He's definitely been balling.
Right. I wouldn't be upset if we signed Devin Bush again, or if we draft a guy. We need to sign Terrell Edmonds again, because we do not have a good draft history with our deep DBs.
No, that's definitely truth, man. Our draft history has not been the most fond or the most favorable when it comes to our secondary. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. But we've been nice in terms of free agency picking them up, though.
Right. I'm saying let's go buy our cornerbacks, and then we go use our draft capital doing what we do best. Get another receiver. We hit on our O-line, man. Minus Kendrick Green. That was catastrophic. We hit on our defensive linemen. So, I trust the drafting for the most part.
There we go. No, I like that. You had something?
Well, I know Barilla 92 has been talking about this official momentum versus Barilla 92 fight. I just didn't know if that was ever actually going to come out.
If I hear about ambition one more time, I'm going to get that man in a Lamborghini leg lock.
And I like how you reference Lamborghini leg lock. That's one of my fave names.
Shout
out. Let's go.
Okay, so the beef is real. It's no joke.
The beef is real.
Beef is real.
I like it. Hey, either way, we do appreciate you. Y'all stay safe out there, and hopefully we don't have to have you and Official Momentum putting hands on each other behind the Ambition. Ambition gets a lot of promotion.
We're going to make that car. We're going to make that car happen.
I love it. Hey, right. Barilla, man, we always appreciate you, man. Hey, for the culture, man, all right? Yes.
For the culture.
Let's go.
Peace, bro.
That was funny right there. That was a good one.
Oh, Official Momentum says, dude's funny. Come on, bro.
Oh, okay. I like it. Phone lines are open. We're going to take probably one more. We got time for one more. See what we got on the other line, man. Who going to hit us up? Let's go. Hello. Who we on the hotline with, baby?
Hello, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man? Who we on the hotline with today, baby?
This is John Easton calling again.
There it is. What up, John Easton? How we living on your end?
I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying some nice lunch right now.
Oh, okay. Shout out, man. What you eating? I'm hungry.
I'm eating some cod, fish, and some tilapia.
Okay. Little tilapia, little cod. I like it, man. Okay, we'll eat your fish then. But we do got to talk, baby. How you feeling right now after yesterday's game?
I'm feeling okay, but I'm not really happy with the game, though. And I had a question about it.
Man, let's talk about it then, baby.
Okay, my question is, I wonder if you and Deke heard the comment by the Bengals linebacker that he said that
Pratt? Yeah.
he knew what the plays were being called, and he said we ran the same plays over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is Canada doing out there? I mean,
no, I get what you're saying, and honestly, a part of that is by design, but the other thing is Matt Canada does have to know when he can adjust and how fast he needs to do it, along with the execution need to be there. And as we talked about earlier, the Pickens touchdown pass, right? That was something that they had schemed up by running the same play where it wasn't successful, but they just did it a couple of times so that way the defenders would see it and just think that, hey, man, I know this was coming, until it didn't, until they did the change up. The problem was second half, they didn't execute those potential change ups, those potential advantages enough, and that was why I looked the way that it did at times. But no, I definitely feel your energy though, baby. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I'm not really happy with Dan Moore either. He can't block anything.
Yeah, he had a rough one, man. In terms of his matchup yesterday, he definitely started to struggle. He definitely did. But I'll also look at Matt Canada and I say, you got to help him when you realize that he's struggling like that. And that's something that when we talk about the coordinator, those are the areas where he has to pick up on that a lot faster if he wants to stay at this level, because that's the difference at the NFL level, man. You got to pick it up the next series. You got to pick it up a lot sooner. You can't always wait till next week or till halftime, because these games, man, they're just too tight. It's too much, in terms of the skill level out there.
Yeah, and I think it's not fair to Kenny that we're not really giving him a running game. I think our longest run of the year was, maybe a 20 or 30 yards for running back. I mean, how is that going to help a rookie quarterback?
Yeah.
We're getting there.
No, we are.
Run game's improving a little bit.
Couple weeks now. Like I said, it's getting in the right direction. I also think because Najee is getting a little bit more healthier as well, we're seeing a lot better version of him, a lot more physical version of him. So hopefully that trend does continue.
Hey, John, real quick, do you have any smoke with Jacob Alessio? Is there any beef there?
With who?
Jacob Alessio in the chat.
I think some of the chat just don't like me because I defend Kenny a lot, and a lot of people are Kenny haters
Johnson
on here.
Fan?
So,
what's your energy on Deontay Johnson?
I think he's not a number one, but he's a solid number two, I think.
There we go. That's all we need this. So, all right. So Jacob Alessio is trying to get on the undercard of the Official Momentum.
Jacob Alessio called you out. He says, I want smoke with Easton. Put that on the card. I didn't know there was a beef between you two. It's just like the most underrated beef there is.
But I'm assuming because you support Deontay a little bit, Jacob does not support Deontay. Maybe that's the disconnect. We're trying to figure it out as well. But we do like it either way.
Okay.
That's all.
Appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. But hey, Jacob, man, we really do appreciate your support for the show, man. It definitely means a lot to us. And we always appreciate you tuning in, baby. All right?
Thank you.
No doubt. All right. Shout out to Jacob Eason. Or, excuse me, John Eason. That is pretty funny, man.
We are building up to something here.
I don't know what it is, but we are doing something.
Barstool has that rough and rowdy thing.
Yeah,
Where-
we're
where
gonna have
literally
some
they
type
just-
of just fandom fun. We're gonna have some type of fandom fun that is gonna get created eventually. We just don't know. We're in the infancy stages of figuring this thing out. We just having fun right now. That is funny though. As soon as he episode, I'm looking at the chat like how I'm trying to keep it
I
serious.
knew about the Barilla
I'm
92
like,
official
bro,
momentum
what?
one. This one just came out of nowhere with Jacob Alessio and John Easton.
Now I got Leah Warren in here calling out Trina.
No way.
Bro, she says, Trina, I'm calling you out with the crying face. And this is after Trina called me out. She said, mostly don't return calls. Because apparently she might have called the hotline and I ain't called back. My bad, man.
For the Gina Smith.
Yo, y'all be cutting up. Yo, this is pretty funny though, man. It's pretty funny. I like it.
You got anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, Paul DeRoville, he says we need Mason fans versus Mitch fans also. Yeah. I like it. Okay. Or I like Mitch versus Kenny fans. I think
I don't even
those
know if
ones
there's
definitely.
enough Mason fans.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a fair fight.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Are there any Mitch fans?
I don't-
anymore? There
I don't
still
know.
are, I think, a little
I
bit.
don't know, man.
The Mitch fans, I think, are just more anti-Kenny fans.
Yeah. You might be right. Because they probably feel like robbed, undercut. Jerry Ramos is saying it's a Deke and Moats promotions. That's what we'll call it. All right. Respect. Yeah, y'all funny, man. I love it, man. Shout out to each and every one of y'all in the chat, though, man. This is what makes the show awesome, man. You know, when y'all are able to give us that feedback, whether it's in the chat, whether it's the super chat, upper room, lower room, whether it is on the phone calls, live or pre-recorded, man, y'all always make it fun. So we do
It's
appreciate
just funny
y'all,
because
man.
it sounded like John had no clue about
He was so confused.
any Jacob
like,
Alessio beef.
He was like, what do you mean? Like, nah, I didn't know that. Nah. And Jacob was
It's
here
been
heavy.
pent up. Maybe
Yeah.
Jacob's been pent up with
Jacob
John
said-
Easton Steaks.
He said, oh, so he's on the hotline now? Oh, I got Tom today. And Jacob says he does stand with Mason also. Just want to let you know that.
Okay.
He's a supporter. Yep. Okay. And Anthony Carfagna says you're a fake fan if you like Mason. The duality of this show. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? But yeah, I think that is it for today. Dude, I don't think we had anything that just popped up. Did you see anything?
No, I don't think.
we're
I'm
good.
not seeing anything.
Okay. Yeah, we got the read in. I finally remembered to put the logo up. Just, the hour and a half into the show, but either way, it's all good. Shout out to DraftKings. So, with that being said, man, y'all stay safe out there. We will have Jalen Warren joining the show on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You don't want to miss that, man. We're definitely excited about that. Yeah, so, like I said, stay safe. Hit the like button on the way out of this thing. And as always, until next time, baby.
Peace.